So I got super excited and bought it. Well, after talking with Thomas for an hour or so on and off, it turns out that my 1080 is just as good with my system versus the 3060, which the only reason the 3060 would be better is because it's newer. And that's about it.
I'm sorry, 3060 NVIDIA card?
Yeah.
Versus, what? Really?
Yeah, 1080.
That's so disappointing.
Wow. Okay. Another topic for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not consistent. I've tested both those, and I see the 3060 crushes the 1080.
Well, it depends on what you're doing, though. I mean,
right.
Honestly, because a 3080 is what you really want.
Well, no, the new 3090 Super is what you really want, which is rumored.
Wait, were we live when we were singing NSYNC?
No, unfortunately,
okay.
but you can do it again because you're live now. So
no, we're good. I just realized we were live, and then I was like, "Oh man, were we live when we were singing?"
I'm looking at the Battle Zoo thing now. I hate you, Terry.
Isn't it amazing?
Really impressive. Well, that's one of the things. So I have 2 spreadsheets. One spreadsheet which I need to re-update it with all the new spells that have come out with Tasha's Cauldron, but I have every single physical come on, brain.
Josh, while you're thinking, I got to tell you, I beg for the day I have 2 spreadsheets. That would be such a reduction in the volume of spreadsheets I manage. Now, have you thought about what you're saying?
No, material components. There you go. So I have a physical spreadsheet of all the material components in 5e and what they correlate to, so that in this campaign, if any of my players become alchemists, because there's no like sorcerer and stuff like that in my Monday night campaign. So if you ever want to like mix and match items and do like Full Metal Alchemist style stuff where you just start putting different ingredients in to make a spell work, I go on my spreadsheet and see what crosses over to what and what that would come out to.
I think I'm kind of excited because I think it's going to be really cool to kind of implement.
Well, I don't agree.
And some of the stuff. I mean, crafting gear for monsters. How badass is that?
Super cool.
Badass.
Evening, Josh, Pat.
Evening.
Oh, Honeybee, good to
Nice
see you.
here,
Thank
Josh.
you so much for being with us. Phantom, Robert, good to see you here as well. Manda, Mystical, all of you. Oh, William, Lord 4, thank you so much, everybody, for jumping in. We're going to be kicking off live here in just a moment, and I think it's going to be an emotional retrospective. I'm going to let the players really run the show tonight. I didn't tell them that, so they're surprised now. But we're waiting. We're waiting for Rory. We're really wanting to see him because he has done so much to help us for this show tonight. So let's give him just a moment, and I'm going to pop over to all my sponsor stuff and my videos. I have many new of them now as well. And here we go. Let's start with the absolutely incomparable video from Anna V. Meyer. So for me, I'm hearing my voice over. I'm sorry, guys. Everyone hates all the audio testing we're doing on Blue Box, but we're honing in on the final audio stuff. Like we've got heavy mics coming in and new sound systems. We're tweaking, working, spending, and I thought about this week. How tired would I be as a viewer of hearing the words, "How does this sound to you?" So please just bear with us. I think we're about the end of this journey. Now, right now, to me, this is the map is kind of loud, but I'm hearing my voice well. Let me have Vivi, please speak.
Hello.
Yeah?
I had nachos.
You had nachos?
Delicious.
Okay, all right. So all of you sound good to me. Vivi is so quiet for you, Manda.
Yeah. Phoebe.
Vivi,
And look, this is part of Twitch streaming. Also, you have to realize that everybody has different audio systems on the output side, and they got speakers or phones or iPads or whatever. So we're never going to get it perfect, but I'm trying to just get it as perfect as I can. And this is an intermediate step, so this is not the end tonight. Well, it is an end, but not the end.
Cry.
AV up at 88, Manda. And you're the only one you can hear. I'm the only one you can hear clearly. All right, so crap. Does anyone else hear the same thing for her?
What?
Amanda said she only hears me clearly.
Danny says she can hear everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, Danny.
Take
Oh,
that.
that's good.
Yeah.
Take that, man. No, we love Manda and Danny. No, they're both the best.
No, we gotta pick and choose now.
So listening to it, we do seem the players seem a bit quieter than you do, John.
A bit quieter. But how do you sound compared to the audio of the map? I guess that's what I want to start with.
Robert said I can hear everyone, but you're definitely clearer than the others.
I'm clearer than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm backing for Vital Zupi's here. Yeah.
Evelyn is clear, but everyone else is almost background.
Good.
how could Evelyn be different?
I don't know.
How is that possible? You're all the same.
Isn't that the way it's always
I mean,
been?
truthfully, I could just turn my mic up. There we go. Now I could be louder.
Yeah,
Is that loud enough?
I
yeah.
have my mic maxed in Zoom, so
Well, maybe that's why you're
might be
louder.
part
Yeah.
of it. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's.
Audio.
Players seem
My
to
mic
be
is
10% lower
Yeah.
than the map and the DM. All right. So.
Adro says he can't hear any of us. Is
Everybody.
anyone here?
Oh, okay. No, that's just what Pat does.
Yeah.
Pat's always doing that to me. All right.
I can't hear a squeak.
Yeah.
So we got
Terry is a bit
Rory
louder
in.
now.
Hello, Rory. Nice to see your chest.
Hello. Yeah, it's nice, I know.
Look at that. Maybe you should put a shirt on before we start streaming.
Yeah. I mean,
He just got back from his night
Let's
job.
go
It's
with
fine.
the Rory trailer video.
Is that glitter I see?
Yes.
It better not be.
Speaking
we
of
should hear about the glitter.
Yeah.
In the soap.
Yeah.
He's like, everybody knew.
I was so pissed.
Since
I-
BlueBoxCon.
My friend who was the one that gave me COVID, I was like, they all knew.
And they said nothing.
So I'm so impressed with all of you and Kate at the same time.
Love you.
Nope, get out of here.
Love you.
I want nothing to do with this anymore. I quit.
We love you.
Baby, bye, bye, bye. Yeah, I'm pledging now. Gosh dang it, Terry.
Peer pressure.
All I did was I did the $1
Do-
pledge, and then
Do you
got
see what
the-
you get on the if you pledge the first day, which this is the first day?
Wait,
Is
is
the
this the
first
first day?
This is the first day. Yeah.
What's the
Oh.
first day pledge?
Yeah. What do I
Yeah,
It's
get?
scroll
that.
down and look. Scroll down and look.
Wait, does it count if I do the $1 pledge as well as the add on the other stuff? Or
As far as I know, if you pledge first day.
well, let me see.
Well, now I have to go back to it and find out what
Yeah,
it was.
freaking
I
Terry.
feel like Terry's like, come with me and I'll show you all
It's
the
literally
places you can
literally
spend
on the
your
top
money.
of the page.
I'm so tired,
Come
It
man.
with
literally
me,
says free
Andrew
day
B.
one.
In a world
No, no. In Josh's defense, he did warn
you
me.
back so many Kickstarters.
That's so cool.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Josh-
Josh did warn me. He had a rough day today. So
Ugh.
So if you
No
scroll down,
excuses.
Josh, you'll
I
actually
see the leather thingy and the
Yep,
dice.
first 24 hours only.
Holy crap, that's amazing.
Wow.
Ooh,
I
free
feel
day
hotter than a
one.
tamale coming out of the oven at 250.
Oh no, and I lied to you, Josh. It's only free with all physical
all right.
book orders.
So let's look at a couple
Well, I
sponsors
got
real
the-
quick,
I got
guys.
the
I
physical.
don't want to distract you from your chattery, but it's great. But let's look at our sponsors, please. And hang on.
What
boy.
sponsors? Wait, we have sponsors?
We
We
had
do.
a couple.
Oh,
well,
hallelujah. It
up-
ships to Canada.
apparently we don't now because that's not working either. What the heck is
What?
going on? All right,
What-
so let's
what'd
go
you
back
break?
here. I broke something. Yes.
On.
Yeah, so
Nice
I was born in the
things.
1930s and I know nothing about PCs. And all right, so let's try again here. Let me go back to the sponsor channels.
So cool. I
There
love
we
that.
go. We already saw that one. Thank you so much, Slobs. We still
That's
love
Only on
you.
physical
Now,
copies. Oh, hardcover.
Ferox. There we go. Yeah, it needed that refresh. I don't know what it does. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Thank you, all the mad chatters already in tonight.
I was going to send you something, Terry. What was I going to send you? All right.
Small mammals.
Definitely, it looks like a small mammal.
Now, look, honestly, if you feel like this Ferox video is too loud for you, I don't care because it's so awesome. Just deal with it.
I like
Evening, Sinoken. Eat to
Just got
surf.
a TLP
Welcome.
raid.
Epic Game. Oh, wow. Lots of you. Oh, hello, all of you. I'm sorry I missed so many new folks in the chat. I mean, not new, but like, oh, and Troll Lord Games. Chuck, is that you or is that you, Steven?
It's Chuck.
I hope it's Chuck.
It's Chuck. He's back.
It's Steven.
Stop, Josh. I need to go with the
only rated
authoritative
because
source.
I was whispered.
Oh, okay, Chuck. It's Steve. No, Chuck, so glad to see you back, man. You have been in our thoughts and prayers, and it makes my soul rejoice, and actually is a great kickoff to the show tonight to see you're back on and hopefully feeling hale and well. Troll Lord Games, of course, a great sponsor for us, and we are doing some new things with them with all of their Castles and Crusades content, and we have great Friday Night Crusade stuff. We just love Chuck and Steven and all the Troll Lord Games fans. So, last thing I want to show real quickly is I showed it Sunday, but my Tuesday crowd may not have seen it yet. We have a brand new Mantic. New Mr. Obadiah. Thank you for a new chat, and here we go. Kings of War, Terrain Crate. All the awesome creations of Mantic Games.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Big battles.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you to all of our sponsors. As you all know, Frederica Draws has brand new artwork being done for all of these characters, and we appreciate all of our sponsors. So, John's Chaps? What?
Yeah, John's Chaps.
All right. So welcome to Greyhawk Awakening, the celebration. And we're going to talk tonight just about all the things that have happened in the first 55 sessions of the stream. We're in Greyhawk Awakening 56 of Book 1 tonight, and it is a celebration. Thank you for everyone being with us. We got 53 folks, and I'm going to be paying more attention to the chat tonight. So I'm asking Evelyn to really help me run the show. I didn't tell her this. I just wanted her to be surprised with it. Yeah, Gimbal and Lilith need to be switched. Hang on one second here. Gimbal, you've never looked so good.
I like where I am.
There we go. Much better. And let's just start with... so we're going to play some videos tonight. I want to say thank you to Rory. The effort you put in to the 49 videos that you sent, all the clips, absolutely amazing. And I think our fans are going to like it. All of you viewers, I hope you really enjoy this tonight. But I want to start off with just a question for each of you as players. Where would you, Josh, you're freaking me out, man. Where would you like to start the conversation tonight? Because it's really about the players and the fans.
I would like to detest the closing of book
Actually,
1. Just kidding.
I want to start in a weird way. John, I first want to know why you started this. Why Greyhawk? Why us? Why this area? Why did you choose this?
Wow, Josh, waited. Like, I love it every time. Every time I turn on these cameras, my players surprise me with something. So, had not anticipated. Really, it was Josh. I wanted to talk about dinosaurs.
Thank you.
And I just knew that this group would help me really evangelize the Triceratops and the Brontosaurus and the Brachiosaurus and all of these, the Ichthyosaurus. Okay, you know what? I've never told this story. See what you did, Josh?
Oh,
I've never told this story.
yeah.
So,
Deflection. I love it.
yeah, you know, so, so I love dinosaurs. I just don't want them in my D&D. You all know that. I'll tell you how much I love dinosaurs. When I was 12 years old, I went on a paleontological trip into it was Wyoming, and then we were in Montana. I believe it was in Montana. It might have been Wyoming. And I found the micro bones, really tiny. Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh my, Pat Draws, Troll Lord Games, all of you, you are just the best. I am humbled as always by the support of this community. You guys just blow me away. So in, I think it was Montana. And we were doing paleontological, I was, digging for bones, and I found the bones of an Ichthyosaurus. These are tiny, tiny little, it was like a small dinosaur. And the leader of this paleontology, it was called the Peccary Club. He was so excited, and he celebrated me, and I felt so good. And then, because I was a 12, 13-year-old kid, I left the bones of this Ichthyosaurus in a Ziploc bag on top of a picnic table, next to a small creek, in a light wind. My Ichthyosaurus bones were pulled off that table, blown into the river, and I got the biggest, verbal butt whooping of my life as I thought was going to be my mentor. Absolutely, chastening is not the right word. He was super, super upset. Probably not words that would be appropriate in 2021 to speak to a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, but he lit into me. Maybe that's where my aversion to dinosaurs in D&D came from. All right. Does that answer your question, Josh? No.
I'm starting a Kickstarter to get John
to answer the question.
So therapy? All right.
And also to get him some dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
Dinosaur bones.
All right. So to answer the question, why did I start this? And oh my gosh, Robert, you guys, I mean, I don't know what to say. Thank you. So I played D&D for a long time, as all of you know. I'm not going to go back into that story, but I did really relish the idea of streaming, and I was pushed by my son, which I've referenced before, because he played in many of my campaigns and said, look, you should stream this. People would like it. And I said, you're ridiculous. What's Twitch? I was the total grognard. But then as I got involved with it, I saw it growing, and I really was brought back to many of the roots of what I love to do and play, and Greyhawk is where I started the game. So I started with Greyhawk, and I brought back to Greyhawk. Blue Box was about really enjoying the new game, D&D 5e, beyond all the new tech and tools and things I have now today I could never have had then. And then it just grew person by person. Evelyn was first. And then it came Rory, and then Josh, and then Terry replacing Steven, and Vivi, and just all of you. And as I've watched the shows, I am most humbled by the quality of players and the investment that all of you have made. So, Josh, thank you for the question, but let me reflect it back to you. Tell me what you guys want to talk about, not me. All right. So with that, that happens all the time. I expected that. That's fine. So let's jump to the monitor and let's kick off a video to start with. And I'm going to pull the background music off. Tonight is a celebration, so I want everyone to relax. This is not a performance. This is just having fun and celebrating what's happened. And so I'm going to randomly pick one of Rory's amazing here. So let me show what I'm looking at here. No. Let's go. Yes. I like this one because this really shows the beard swap. Let's look at this.
Merely, I'm gonna need your help or something. And Lilith, if you're willing.
And at that moment, Millie kind of snaps back to attention and puts back on the, "What can I do for you, darling?"
I'm gonna need both of you outside the room with Tisha's mother.
Of course. Anything.
But I need either one of you or both of you, one of you to have the dress, and one of you to hold this.
And I'm going to hand the dagger to whoever takes it.
I will stomp once for the knife, and twice for the dress.
Players. It's okay. No, I'm gonna relax. Just have fun. Yes. First tissue. Josh, tell me about what you were thinking there. That role play was fantastic. And of course, we saw your glorious beard, and now we're gonna see in a moment your glorious beard disappear as Terry's glorious beard comes up. But we're gonna save that for a little bit later because that was later in the show. But tell us like what you felt, what you thought, the motivations for Brim at that point.
Well, it was definitely a mix of Josh and Brim, because Josh realizing that him being alone with a small female youngling, not the best concept for a 22-year-old ogre. But it's weird because with this next character coming up, you and I have already talked about this, John. Brim is a really big part of myself, and I've been through multiple things in my life where the harm of children has come up very often, and I love that we were able to work through this sort of like red flag issue, or even something that's just very close to the chest for a lot of people with Tisa, and being able to answer your question, the biggest thing on Brim's mind was to remind Tisa that what they took from her, or was that they took nothing from her, was that she was strong, and that she didn't need to be strong right then and there, but that event shouldn't cripple her, and she should be able to stay the same amazing young woman that she was before and after this. And that the dress was to remind her that she's beautiful. The hair tie was to remind her not to hide her face, but to face the world. And then the dagger was to remind her to F anyone who tries to get in her way from that point on. And then there's the sweets, because who doesn't like sweets? But, you know, giving sweets to a young child is probably not the best.
No,
Stranger with candy.
Yeah, stranger danger.
candy.
No, I saw you kind of, but I thought, Josh, you did such a great job of balancing that, because clearly your intent was obvious, but you were being cautious about any sort of misunderstanding of that intent. But, you know, this theme of protecting children, doing good things for children. And I really didn't mean to start out with a heavy theme tonight. I wanted to be a celebration, but I think that's been a constant theme of Blue Box. We've done Save the Children. We've done our local, we've done multiple charities for St. Jude's. And then you've had scenarios where children were in danger. And I don't know why that's a constant theme for me. It's important to me as well. Well, no, maybe it might be, you know, some of how I grew up, and I'm not trying to like make it about that, but I think there is nothing more important if you want to do the right thing than protecting children. And I think you really killed that with that message and what you tried to do there. All right. I've got all the scenes up, but let me try the players again, or the fans. Tell me about any scene. Yeah, thank you again, Chuck. Any scene you'd like to discuss. And I think Rory can help me if I miss something because I've got a lot of these up here.
There is, and it was tough for me because part of what I wanted to do was, between procrastination, honestly, and there's just being a lot of content, I start to see themes, running themes, right? And I was going to compile those running themes together. So, John, you actually have three or four of them in there that are labeled scented wax.
All right, so hang on here.
They're not. I don't think they're all together, but they all have that in the title.
No, that's
wax.
fine. So not at the start of the title.
Correct. It's like Lilith and Millie scented wax or something like that. It's always going to start with Lilith. It's in the Lilith grouping.
Okay. All right. So I see. Yeah, I got it.
Chat.
All right. Go ahead.
Do you want me to read Pat's question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Pat66 wrote a question to the players in GM. What was the most hard-hitting emotional scene that happened to you?
All right. So I have an answer, but the players, please.
I can answer this. It would be the letter, Millie's letter to everyone when they found it. And that was something actually that I had told John that I had in my tucked away weeks before she actually died, just in case, because she was actually starting to get a sense that things were getting very dangerous, and she didn't know if she was going to make it out the other side alive. And especially because Gimble had died already at this point, and everything. And so I told John, I was like, I have this letter. If she dies, I want them to find it so that Millie's last words can be heard, because that's Millie in a nutshell. Is she will have the last word no matter what. And that, I think, was probably one of the most emotional moments for me, because like up until that point, I was like, I'm fine. I've dealt with this, and I was like, wait, maybe I'm not as fine as I thought I was. And especially just like looking over at everybody as I was reading through that and trying to focus on that, and I was like, okay, nope, yep, that was the one for me.
All right. Well, no, I love that. So let's look at some things I think which will relate to this. And Rory, you can help me again if I'm missing one here. Let me kill this audio here because I don't want to overlap that. And
can I get a disclaimer if we're going to play Millie's death?
Well,
I would just like a disclaimer. And to answer your question, obviously that one is my worst one.
let's start with Millie's escape, shall we? This was such a good moment.
Took my fortune into my own hands.
You're crying already.
What does this mean, to take your fortune in your hands? You did what?
We all miss Ashrin.
By the way, everybody, you're all hearing this except for Gimble. Gimble's up on the rock. He can kind of see the conversation, but he can't hear it. Everybody else is hearing this, and no one's asleep yet.
That's the beard swap.
There are things I am not sure I'm ready to talk about.
Oh.
But I will say this. I was raised by my grandmother for the formative years of my life. Her name, Wilhelmina. It is my given name. I do not associate with that name because of what she wrought upon me during the formative years of my life.
So the Merry Millie, it's Wilhelmina is your name?
Millie is what I prefer to go by, thank you. But there was a day my sister was getting ready for her going away to study in the church, and I had a window of opportunity. I took what very little possessions I was allowed to have and what little coin I managed to steal, and I snuck onto a ship. And I left.
You did now.
All right, so I wanted to start there before we really dive into the death of Millie, which of course was the most likely response of the emotional question that was asked by Pat. Tell us more about the letter, about her back. I just felt like there was so much left on the table, Evelyn, for Millie. And that was, as a DM, and I want to tell you some of the feedback I got from some of my peers about that in a second. But tell us about Millie, this moment, the letter, just like what was left on the table for her.
Okay, so there was a lot that Millie's story did not cover, and I think she she revealed a bit of it, and to an extent, what she felt comfortable enough to reveal. And she had gotten pretty close to most of the members of the party after a while, but yeah, so Millie's story basically, she had, had started off with kind of the ideal family situation. She had loving parents and she had a younger sister, and everything was going great until her father had gotten this particular job, because it was supposed to be his last big thing, so that he could retire and spend his life with his wife and his daughters. And so he had gotten this job from this mysterious character who was known in the town as the Shadow King. And this fellow was kind of there were some unsavory things spread about him, but there was no one knew who he was. No one knew exactly what his deal was. It was just this thing. And so, but Millie's father had taken this job, and he was supposed to retrieve something, and he disappeared. And Millie was, a small child at that point. And her mother went in search of him. And being the responsible mother that she was, she had left the girls with Wilhelmina von Tomth, who was Millie's father's mother. So she took them to her place and went out in search. Mom never came back. And so then Millie and her sister, who actually became a cleric in the Church of St. Cuthbert, but they were raised in a very strict environment, very rigorous, very unfriendly to Millie, who was very free-spirited, and she felt completely kind of crushed under the weight of the nature of who her grandmother was. And her grandmother basically told her constantly that her father was a disappointment, and she would not associate with him. And to Millie, that was just one of the worst things, because he was the person she had looked up to for so long. She had from day one wanted to be a sailor, to
Right.
just like Dad, and go out on these great amazing adventures that she had.
And there were
stories about.
you and I had so many conversations about this, and I was so excited to tell that story, and it was a story that remained untold.
Yeah, and so she had joined the crew, which after she had spoken a little bit about that when she escaped. She joined a pirate crew who basically became her adoptive family, and she had been kind of rescued by the first mate, and proved herself through just her sheer stubbornness and force of personality that she was able to do it. And so between the crew, she learned how to fight. She learned, because there was actually a very talented swordsman amongst the crew who taught her everything with the rapier and the dagger. And so they made her kind of the capable person that she was, and the survival instinct was just her. And if we came back to, like, she had been sailing with them for a few years. Like, she had been with that crew for about 5 years, I think is what it was. And when they actually heard tale of her father popping up again in his ship, and so she requested leave from the crew for a time, and went back to this town. That's actually when she bought her coat and her hat and everything from the original thing, because she wanted to look as pirate as she possibly could to impress her dad, because she hadn't seen him in years, not since she was a child. And so she came up and she snuck onto his ship, and he saw her and he was like, "Oh, I have so much to tell you, go rest in this cabin." And she was like, "Okay." And so she went, she fell asleep. Next thing she knows, her hands are bound, her feet are bound, and he's shoving her over the edge of the ship with no explanation. And so to her death, she absolutely assumed. And so she was sinking below the waves of the ocean, and because the ship had gone out to sea at this point, and she was sinking beneath, and she managed to get her dagger free and cut her ropes and get herself loose, but she was still at a predicament of being in the middle of the ocean, and she managed to actually come across something as she was treading water, something that had been floating, and she just kind of passed out as she was holding on to this. Woke up the next morning and she had somehow made it back to shore, and at that point was when she got the hand crossbow that she kept hidden, and the poison and the bolt for seeking revenge against her father for trying to kill her, because it didn't make any sense, but what she knew is that that wasn't going to fly. And so that was kind of her motivation until she met everyone else, and that's what changed things for her, and that was when she became willing to give that up to save Gimble's life, let go of that a little bit.
That's amazing, and we're going to talk about Gimble's resurrection and all that was done for that in a moment. But any comments from the rest of the players about what Evelyn just said, which was like so well done? Thank you.
I think she was gone too soon.
I know.
I miss the sassiness of Millie, like just like in combat, like sassy comments. Like I'm just waiting for her to be like, "Yeah, eat it," every time something happens. But yeah, I miss Millie.
Yeah, Millie was she was very, very good at the sass. So let's look at this one here. I think this might be fun. So this was a pretty big moment in the campaign. It was part of Virtual Greyhawk Con last year, and honestly, I just want everyone to relax. I want all of you guys to really, again, I'm going to say it one more time, I want you to run the show. You can jump in, you can interrupt me. I don't care how many people we have watched today. I don't care. Like, I'm not saying to our viewers, I don't care about you. I do. Thank you so much. I just really want this to not be a performance. I want it to be fun and relaxing for all of the players and for the viewers to enjoy. But I think this was a really, really fun, and I know it was a pivotal moment for the campaign.
Out of my pocket.
No, Phantom Ashwin was not the spy.
Had the orb wrapped in.
All right. You hold it up, and let me have you make a, let's see here. Let's make a dex check on this, please.
All right.
And I'm going to make a perception check roll for her as well at disadvantage.
That's a natural 20.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
She says, "Lay it there at his feet."
And when I captured it, I tied it up to make sure that the orb wouldn't. So.
This very orb came up recently in our stream.
By his feet.
As you lay the orb at his feet, she still keeps the blade tight against his neck. You see, with remarkable dexterity, she flips the bundle of cloth up, and she catches it in the crook of her arm, and she smiles and says, "I promised you he would not die, but he's coming with me." She snaps the amulet away from her neck, and she vanishes into thin air as green light emanates, and suddenly she is gone. Gimble vanishes with her.
Can I, any infrared, anything, or just gone?
You look.
All right, so in that moment, this was a couple of times, like Millie did some really clever things, and she foiled on 2 occasions there, and also with the Hell Knight in Jeru Ashtaff's Grove, the attempt to pull the orb, the eye, away, and the eye and the skull is still a big part of the campaign. But I thought that was so fun and epic. Players, just so many of you are involved in that. Any of you, go ahead.
It's watching them again, because in the moment of things, it's like mortality doesn't exist, right? In the moment of D&D, mortality doesn't exist. And so, especially watching the clips then, watching the clips now, it's like, okay, well, Millie's going to throw a dagger. And someone else is going to try this. And Gimble's going to try. And all this time, like, you're emphasizing, like, she's quick, and there's a dagger pressing into his knife. Are you sure? So it's interesting going back and watching those things, all the things that we're racking our brains to, like, okay, how can we resolve this? How can we resolve this? And as much as, like, swapping the item, switching the item like that is kind of like, well, you might have just killed Gimble because she's going to find out and get pissed. But it was the least, it seems like, perhaps a little bit of life philosophy, but it seems like also in game, the least forceful action seems to come out on top, right? So throwing the dagger got a dagger in Gimble's shoulder. Any other attempt we made got Gimble hurt. That one actually was not forceful. It was just tricky. And you doing it, you got the natural 20. So, I mean, it worked.
I think also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go. No. Or sorry. So, Evelyn, then Vivi.
Okay, and I actually, there was a lot, like, quickly going through my brain at the moment because I was like, how do I solve this problem as quickly as possible? And I thought about how Halia had been developed as a character, and specifically Millie paying close attention to everyone and everything and their motives. And at that moment, I realized it was worth the risk because Millie knew that Halia was smart enough not to do something that could hurt her chances of getting what she wanted. And so Millie was like, well, Halia's not stupid. She's gonna want to get what she can. So if when she leaves without this orb, she's not going to kill Gimble because she knows that's definitely not going to get Millie had the leverage in that moment, and that's how she felt about it. And she was like, so this is worth the opportunity here. So
Vivi?
Oh, I was just going to say, if I'm not mistaken, that was before Roy was going to be out for a little while.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how these things happen where we kind of know that they're going to happen, but then, like, when we're in the moment and when we're in it, it's just like we're all just like, like, what's happening? Because, like, we knew at some point you were going to have to write him out for a little bit, but, like, it just, when you're in the moment, it's different. Or same with, like, Millie's death. Like, we knew at the end of that session, like, the odds were very low that she was going to survive, like so much so that Evelyn was like, I already have my new character made, I've come to terms with it, blah blah blah, like, spent that week to prepare to, like, come to terms with everything. And then, like, when we're in that moment and there's all of us together and just sitting there role playing and rolling dice, it's just so emotional. Like,
no,
so
I love that. I love that. So that's a great topic because that happens a lot. You will go from one session to the next, and you may have some sense of the failure or the fumble or the crit or whatever happened the last time, and or you suspect what's coming. And yet when you're in the moment, there is still the investment in the character, the respect of the game, and I do not want anyone to assign that to the DM. I want to recognize these players. These players have done a fantastic job of investing in their characters and their role play and the game, and I think that's principally what you were feeling there. Like, Vivi, we knew that was going to happen, or you already knew, but when you get in the moment and you each invest, and then all these scenes that we're showing here, right? Like, your brain has stored these tens and tens and tens of hours of content, and even subconsciously it pops back up and it brings the emotion out. Terry, you are, you're the newest member of the Wayward Bolt. Congratulations. As we started with 5, and you were not among the 5. Uthar, Steve was the first of the 5, but you've been an absolutely fantastic add to the campaign. But you're also someone like Evelyn that's involved in theater, and you are really serious about the role play of your character. You've shown this with Shorewind. We're going to talk about Shorewind tonight, and you just strap it. Like, it's going to be a while, guys. We're not going to be done for a while. We got a lot of stuff to show tonight. It's going to be a fun time. But this idea that she just mentioned, Vivi, about the investment in the character and the emotion that can come in the moment, even when perhaps you might suspect the moment's coming, but it still hits you. What is that?
It's a good question.
Only kind I ask.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to that question.
So it's a bad question, you're saying?
No, I think it's
a challenging question.
No, I think it's different on a per person basis. I don't think there is an answer to that question. Each person has to figure out how they bring that out via themselves. I mean, it's just like performing in a play. Each actor does it differently. Each player does it differently. I mean, how I do it is going to be different from how Josh does it.
All right, well, so let's stop there. How do you do it?
I draw on the acting work that I've done in the past. I mean, truthfully, one of the things that I use is emotional recall, which is actually out of vogue currently. Emotional recall essentially states that you use emotions that have affected you over your lifespan to bring about those emotions as a performance. An example I always use is when I was in Our Town as George. At the very end, George's wife has died and he has to go to her grave. And I was young at the time. I was only 25, 26. And I had to use something to get me into that mindset of what it feels like at that moment. And, not having had lived through much at that age, I ended up using the death of my grandfather when I was in high school to bring about those emotions. And so, that's one way to do it. I mean, again, there are a variety of different methods that I fall back on. But again, I think each person's going to fall back on what they need to fall back on to bring about what their character is feeling.
I freaking love that, Terry. I don't know why it took 3 questions to get that out of you. That's what I wanted you to say. Well done, sir. But so for the rest of you, like, he's talking about his acting background, how he touched on important moments in his life. Was that the same for each of you, or do you have different ways? Yeah, so like, I'll say for me, I honestly, I'm motivated by what Terry just said, because I do have things I can draw on. I normally try to recall all the moments of the campaign, the players, or the things that are more sort of temporal and specific to the game. But I love what he said. What about you, Vivi? How did you pull back that emotion in the moment, even though you kind of knew it was coming?
I think it's just different for me as someone who doesn't have any theater background and like has never streamed before. And like, as you kind of said, like in the beginning, like when I first started, I kind of held back a little bit, and then now I'm more comfortable in the situation, in the group that I'm in. I think a lot of what you guys see like of me emotionally is like raw emotions that I'm actually feeling. I'm not trying to recall anything. I'm just genuinely upset. Like, there is a lot. I think like that last more recent episode, I think Kristen, D&D Imposter, asked, she's like, I wonder what Vivi's thinking right now. And that was when Alondra had mentioned Millie's name. Like I literally felt it in my heart, and I was just trying not to cry. I think what it is like with this stream, with these characters, like this is the most emotionally invested I have been in any kind of D&D game before in my entire life, which is really odd because it is streamed live and people are watching, but like I completely lose myself in the stream when we are playing together as a group. And I think that really pulls out the raw emotions that I am feeling during stream, because literally like with Millie's death, like I was like, okay, yeah, it's coming, and it's fine. And then like that build up with the music, with everybody's speech and what they were doing, and then we were at this pivotal build up moment, and we knew like she, like at the beginning of the stream, we found out she passed, and I was like, I'm okay. And then like just things kept happening, and then Rory does the speech, and then Terry does the speech, and then Josh does the speech, and then I'm like, I'm okay. And then we get to like this scene where like Millie's body is brought out, and I like just lost my shit. Like, and then as I start talking, I made the fatal error at looking at Evelyn's face, and then I was like, nope, I'm gone, and I just lost it. And it's funny because, like I said, I'm not in theater.
Did you
like,
figure
I
out how the
D&D,
chess
and
works?
I've had other characters die before in my campaign, but like none of which has affected me in this way ever before. And like that's what I said, like even me, like to this day, like if I try to watch back her death, like I'll instantly cry. So I mean, that's why I said, can I please have a precursor warning before you play it? So
well let's play something before we play that. And that was I thank you both. But before we move on, anyone else want to talk about how you recall, how you role play? I love the theater background of Terry. I love the more sort of temporal and what happened in the campaign view of Vivi. Evelyn, you got a theater background, of course.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh or Rory.
Yeah, and before I do it, just a comment to what Vivi was saying. One of the things that I liked, and I saw this with all of us, but that's where I was going with, like the scented wax, right? So, Vivi, you used that 2 or 3 times, and then you used it again in that moment, and that moment is so surreal for you. It's not a premeditated thing to, okay, well, I've used this before, this is meaningful, let's pull it out again. It's just that integral item to your character that you then pull out in that moment. And I've seen Josh and the bear and these different items just stream through all of our characters, and it's interesting how, like you said, for you it's very in the moment. For me, it's a blend of that. That's why I get like lost in words. Like, now I'm supposed to do what did you just do to me, John? A dragon breathing in my face, what am I supposed to say? So very lost in the moment, not so much like emotionally riddled, just lost in the moment. So that creates some interesting moments. And then character and self-development blended with the moment emotion. So Gimbal is very passive. He'd prefer not to kill anything. He'd prefer just to figure it out a different way over and over, very passive. And so that's actually become a conscious thought of myself is, okay, how passive am I? So then I continue to work that into my character, Do we gotta kill the giant? Do we gotta kill the bugbear? Do we gotta do this? Can we do something else with the orcs? So it's both a logical plot of character and self-development mixed in with the in the moment. I'm not thinking about the previous or the future, just like, how can I use my shrunken tree right now?
Shrunken tree, shrunken barrel, all kinds of great stuff that Gimbal has done. Thank you so much, Mike. Good to see you as well. The role play, I think it's been absolutely fantastic. Before I move on, I do want to come back, and we're going to move on from Millie because she's obviously a central character here, and I want to tell you the story I mentioned a moment ago. So I got a couple more things. I want to move on. There's so many other great moments in this campaign and other fantastic role play things we'd talk about. But Josh or Evelyn, anything else you want to say about how you pull out the emotion of the moment in your role play?
Sure. Like Terry talked about, I have pulled some emotional recall just from the training that I had in college. But other than that, one of the things that I think about in my when we're playing is just kind of getting into the head of the whoever that I'm role playing at the time, no matter what character is, like, what motivates them, what are their goals, what are they seeking, and what are their connections with the people around them too. It's not necessarily about me, it's about the connections that character has and the emotions that are tied to the people that character has. And so, like, some of the things that I did were player motivated, but a lot of it is very much character motivated. And so especially in the moments that Millie had with all of them, but like with Lilith and the moments where she talked to Brim about how he was more than what he looked like, and that there were other people that she knew that were more than her whole philosophy of you can't judge somebody by what they seem to be. you know, and now with Alondra as well, like just her she is a very socially awkward character. She doesn't know what to do with
No,
people,
but she does
really.
it so well. Like she is so well socially awkward. It's fun.
But that is motivated by who she is, and so like I consider both aspects of that. It's like, what does she want, but also what do I want as a player to get out of the story that I'm telling as part of this.
No, absolutely well done. Josh, anything you want to add to that topic before I move on? All right. So as we conclude the Millie chapter of tonight's stream, which again, this will not be all about Millie, but I knew it would be. I knew this is where we would start. I just knew it. Let's look at a little bit more about her life and what she did and how she impacted the players.
Did you figure out how the chess worked? Oh, grand! And she just kind of like, grabs Lilith's head between her hands and goes, "You're beautiful and you're my favorite." And she just.
All right, let's watch that again because I was a little bit slow. So you heard Vivi talk about her connection with Millie, and I think it started early in the campaign. This is a great moment.
Did you figure out how the chess worked? Oh, grand! And she just kind of like, grabs Lilith's head between her hands and goes, "You're beautiful and you're my favorite." And she just.
Gimbal.
So I think for you, Vivi, it was early on. It was tough, and I can fully understand why you struggled. We're going to get to your goodbyes, and we got all the scented wax stuff. But let's just go ahead and get to it. Millie's death.
You see, suddenly Lilith turns in a rage and she begins raking. Millie trying to fight off Lilith on one side. She does this magnificent parry and riposte. As she does so, she plunges her blade deep into the arm of the Umber Hulk. But for the briefest of moments, she leaves her side exposed. With incredible speed, startling, this Umber Hulk, this other claw comes around. This massive clawed arm that can rip through stone, which you have already seen in several places here. It catches her, and I'll read, I'll tell you what happens, and then I'll read the crit. It catches her right in the arm. As it catches her in the arm, you see it opens up the arm, catches an artery, then catches right in the bone of the elbow. You hear a snap. She's yanked into the air. You see the compound fracture burst through the skin, blood spurting everywhere. She is picked up and thrown across the room. She slams into the wall behind her with a groan. Her arm broken, ruined, and leaking blood everywhere.
That's hard to watch. Even as the DM, that's hard to watch. As we said a moment ago, you knew that was coming. And we talked a little bit about sort of the causality of this. It was a crit. Obviously, crits are tough, and crits have benefited this party, in many, many ways. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, and we have very vicious and difficult crit structures here, somewhat mitigated by fate chips and other things, but it's still part of the game. But to see a beloved character like Millie fall to that, in that moment, you were choked in the corridor. We've talked about this a few times, so I'm not going to repeat it. But you were choked in that corridor. You had the bumping that happened, people getting through, the Umber Hulk, and then the horrible crit. We're going to save the talk about the sort of the farewell. Put away those tissues. Come on, Vivi. We're not at that point yet. This is more tactical. But be candid with me. Did you think as a DM I was unfair? Was something not properly run? The adjudication of the roles, or the way it all happened. Maybe there was some resentment. And I'll tell you now the story that I've been kind of teasing a bit to get you started. The night that happened, as a DM, whenever a player dies, the most common question you get is what?
Did you do it on purpose? Did you want to kill off this character?
Well, that's a little more advanced. Normally, what I hear is, why did you kill that player? Right? So, but yes, I think yours is a good sort of advanced thing. And none other than Lord Gazumba, who's on vacation right now, he messaged me the next morning, and I think his words were, I'll have to look at, I think he literally said, "I cannot believe you killed Millie." And I was like, Jay, what the? I did not kill Millie. The game, the process, the dice, the crit tables. But she was so beloved that, everyone freaked out at that moment. So with that in mind, players, as that happened, did you think like, oh, she's going to be resurrected? Because, well, I set the stage with Gimbal, right? Because Gimbal was close to his home and he has a ceremony. I don't know how many of you experienced like a permadeath thing in your campaigns, but any of you?
I don't think it was mishandled or unforeseen or like, so that's earlier when I had mentioned in the moment of D&D, mortality doesn't exist, right? And part of that, I think, comes from the fact that we can't physically feel or see the terrain. Like, you're not in a choked corridor. So it's hard to, or it can be hard to imagine what it's like to be in a choked corridor. Well, of course, all three of us fail. Well, no, we don't, right? And so I think that's part of where that comes from. But you identify that stuff, you stated it a couple of times over, but it's in the moment of things. And so when you have a lot of people rushing into a spot, you get a bear that jumps over a gnome and messes up his magic, or you get a half ogre that bumps into a
shiny man.
Yeah, shiny man.
Shiny man. Yeah.
So you get all these kind of things, which are. I mean, so this was even late into the campaign, but that's just the dynamics of the group. And I think between the dynamics of real people going and doing something in real life, you find those same kind of fumbles and those kind of things, let alone in the heat of combat, real or fake. So I don't think, what are we at again? 59, 56, 50, so 55 episodes in, including my own personal character's death.
Right.
I think it was handled just fine. I've never seen you be a malicious DM, so I have no reason to be like, screw you.
Also,
Yes, please go ahead, Vivi.
I just want to add that because I think we give you a hard time because we know you can take it, I think. And also, we just needed to blame somebody. So the easiest person to blame in this situation was you. And we know that you, and like I said, like we joke and we say things like that, but we obviously know your skin is thick enough to take it. So when we do, we're like, you killed Millie. We know that.
All right, so Vivi just called me fat, but that's fine. We'll move on from that. No, thank you. So the chat, again, great chat. I do not want to kill her again, but I like Tim's comment, his complaint. Why do you enjoy describing the crit? You know what? I enjoy describing every crit. Because my goal as a DM is to make the players feel immersed. Everything I do, the stupid stuff I do with music and lighting and all the different, sound effects and my horrible accents and all of that. It's just, I'm trying to create immersion to tell a story. And I think, just as vibrant in my descriptions of what the players do and supporting them when they tell me, how it looks or what happened, as I am when they die. And I cannot appear as though I cannot look like I'm trying to shade against the conflict and the outcome for these players, because then they don't have the fun. And I've talked about that a lot in LMA, so I'm not going to be overwrought with that. But that's my answer, Tim. I enjoy it because I enjoy the story. And I think there's no one else on this stream that has been more direct and frankly somewhat confrontational with me about that than Terry. Terry has been like Terry has basically given me the finger a couple of times about the story. And so Terry, for you, let me go to you. You've seen this, and when you have a Shorewind who walks away, or someone who dies, or you're ready for any of your characters to die, because you're attached to the character, but only as much as you're attached to the story. Talk about that, please.
Yeah, we've had discussions, haven't we?
Yeah, just wait till you're back here in person next time. Yeah, we're gonna throw some blows.
I think part of what I love about D&D with this group and Pathfinder with my other group is the story, because let me clarify. I love my characters, but I love my characters as part of the world, not as a part of me. It's one of the reasons why I never put too much of myself into a character, because then I'm going to worry about their death. And these characters have their own lives, their own backgrounds. I mean, you saw my description of my barbarian, right? I went super in depth because
You did. It's amazing. Yeah.
Because I want them to come alive and be a part of the story. And so when I play my characters, there have been times that I have felt like the story was shortchanged. And you know, it happens, and that's just my opinion versus others' opinions, and you know, whatever ends up happening, it happens. And
now, are you talking specifically about our stream and our campaign, or other stories, or both?
Yes,
both. Yes, I knew the answer was both.
Yes.
All right. So, look, I want to push back on you with this just a bit, because I think I do really relish the story, but sometimes as a player, you don't know why was there that that heal thing that Ashrin could do in that moment for Shorewin. Why? These things are all part of the story, which you as an actor don't necessarily know. And in the moment, if you're thinking, well, let me die or let me suffer that fate, if it's not part of the story, you may not be aware. All right, so I'm done. I'll shut up and let you.
And you're completely right about that. And
say that again. I like that.
Oh, I have no problem.
I'm teasing. Good.
That's one of the things that I love about when I teach too. I don't mind telling even my students that they're right. I mean, I don't know everything, and I don't know, I don't know a lot of things. And so but you saw, after that occurred, I continue, I understood where you were coming from with Ashrin's needle, and, continued to move that character forward. But the one thing for me, though, then, and you know how I feel about that, my character does change from those events.
Yes, which I respected. I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, but yeah, I think the story it's what ties everything together. I like the fact that we can die. I like the fact that, battles are dangerous. And as long as the story continues to progress forward, I think it's amazing. And I'll be honest, you're killing me that the fact that we don't get to continue the stories that we were currently on. And
wait, no, I never said that. I never said that.
Let me rephrase it.
Yeah, disabuse our viewers of that notion, because they may feel the same thing. I'm pausing.
When you step away from a character, coming back to that character is more difficult than continuing the character's story.
So I did not think we would go in this. Yeah, no, I love this, Terry. Thank you. And this is going in a different direction than I thought it would go. But hey, everything I do goes in a different. I don't predict things very well, I guess, is my answer. But so when you do a trilogy, when you are doing a play and you have multiple acts or parts, and then you go do something else as an actor, maybe you have multiple roles that are spread. Is that not a normal part of theater and acting, or?
It is not, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
Because every play, even in a trilogy, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And we, in our story, coming back to Hamlet is not an ending, or at least I don't view it as an ending. And so, I've done Kentucky Cycle, for example. It's like a 10-hour play of 2 plays. Okay, it's long, but each play separate has its own beginning, middle, and end, and then combined they have a larger arc. And so I think my what I was really excited about is seeing what was happening with Brim's relationship with Vivi, with Lilith. That would be weird if it was Brim and Vivi.
She did seem kind of sweet on him, though. I think it's
Brim's relationship with Lilith and how Rin was handling what had happened, and Elandra starting to become more vocal, and then of course Gimbal trying to figure out what's going on, and then we come to this, again where Brim, Lilith, and Gimbal, they know these characters, and I know we'll come back to that, and I'm excited to see that happen. There's just there was some meat that I finally started seeing. I was like, oh.
I love that. So thank you, Keith, by the way, Roger. And so I think what I'm hearing through the translation that occurs in this brain is you are so grateful to Blue Box for expanding your ability to really transcend story arcs and enjoy them in different ways, right?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I knew it. All right.
So if I
go
can
ahead. Yeah, please. Yes.
So, because in our little get together that we all had on a nice Saturday morning, some earlier than others, so Tara brought up that point there too, and I think another difference is in a play or something like that, and I'm somewhat ignorant in this realm, but we might not come back to this for a year.
You might. You don't know, do you?
Right. But in a play, you know that it's going to be in an hour, right? The separation from character is shorter than what we potentially might face.
Okay, so yeah, and help me with this, because when I'm looking at what I do with The Mandalorian or Ted Lasso, there's a big old gap, and I have to go on to other stories. I know it's going to come back, but this to you feels different somehow.
So you as the viewer know it's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, or as the reader. So let me go to a better example. Yeah. Let's go to George R.R. Martin's novels in Song of Fire and Ice. You would have an entire book that was dedicated to Dany or to Jon Snow, and you'd have a few characters that were completely left out, and you had to switch the script and move to them. A lot of novelists do this, where they move between, okay, now you're hearing these characters, and you might go hundreds of pages before you come back to these. And honestly, as a reader, it annoyed me. So I didn't like it, but I respected it as, why did I don't know, Josh, I don't know. It's just I'm arguing with myself. I guess I'm just saying it's done, but I felt like, okay, the reason I did it here was the jump the shark scenario. You guys jumping the shark?
Yes,
you guys familiar, right?
From Happy Days. Yep.
Is that where it started? I didn't know that.
So the Fonz jumped the shark on the show.
I always wondered where the phrase came from. Thank you so much. I didn't know, but I thought we'd
come on. Even I knew that.
All right, Josh. Good night. Have a good night. Love you, man. It's been good seeing you here tonight. So.
Come on. I have 5. Thank you.
But I did feel like. We had jumped the shark a bit, and we needed a reset and a bit of separation, because the depth of the character involvement was so strong, and the narratives and the arcs and the separation, which again, this happened naturally. The tossing through the portal, which was the most dramatically engaged moment I have ever had in all of my D&D. There was real life consequence from that, but it was all coinciding with the sense that, okay, it's time to just pause this story. Let these characters marinate a bit. Tell other parts of the story, knowing we'll come back to them. But I just felt like there was precedent, and it made sense for this group. Evelyn, please.
Well, I would say in using the theater references, you know those stories are pre-written. You know you're coming back to them, and you know what the next motivation is because they're pre-written stories. So especially I think I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I know for me as Elandra, I was actually starting to feel like I was getting a handle on the character, because coming in as a new character in the established party, it like I'm finally feeling like there was a place and I was starting to like get into the momentum of it. And so I think that's the hardest thing for me, like pausing at this point, is like I'm like, oh, I finally get it now. So but we'll come back to it. It's just figuring out how to readjust to that and remember that, like, that connection after moving into a different character, I think will be an interesting exploration.
And
Jerry.
just to kind of extend on that, if the cliffhanger wasn't so enormous, right? If, look at, let's go old school, look at Star Wars, the original trilogy. None of the endings of those first three were so huge. I mean, this is Hamlet. This is Burned Down. This is Dead
Terry
Bodies
is saying that we're telling a better story than Star Wars. Thank you so much, Terry. Sorry, go ahead.
I wish I had the same whiskey John had right now.
Whiskey.
What's in your coffee cup?
But it just, yeah, and I think additionally with Alondra and Rin's characters being so new, we didn't get a chance to develop as much those characters as I think we would have liked in the short amount of time that we had.
I think adding to what Terry said too, and we kind of talked about that in our little like early morning chit chat. But I think the thing is that when like Sherwin came in at the time, like coming into a already well-established group, everybody knows is very difficult because there's already bonds and things like that within the group, and then you're trying to be like, hey, like me too, and like with Sherwin's character, I think like where we were at in the whole story of this, we still had time, and we had a lot of time to RP with Sherwin, to get to know Winston. Don't forget Winston. And
can't forget Winston.
No.
Did you not see him up earlier? Yes,
Yes,
I'll bring him back. Here we go. Winston. No one wants to see Sherwin.
Or the wedding certificate.
Yes, right. The wedding certificate. Illegal marriage.
Exactly.
But I think that's the difference, is that we got to know Sherwin's, like all of us got to know, our characters got to know Sherwin and what his driving forces were and where he stood and things like that. And that, I think a lot of that stuff kind of developed over time with RP. Unfortunately, when Alondra and Ren came in, we had kind of gotten into a point where we were kind of at a peak moment, because we were kind of hitting this huge,
right?
Like we're at the precipice of this like huge fight, right? And we're kind of going in, and it's like fight after fight after fight after fight. There wasn't really enough time for us to RP with them in a natural way. Like we could have forced it, but I mean it doesn't seem natural to kind of like, you have some time to kind of RP with them a little bit,
right?
And then we get into this huge pivotal moment where we're seeing such a change in Rin's character. Like it's such a huge character arc, because we know Rin as this very polite, like, oh hi, oh sorry, and like very Canadian-esque, a very Canadian-esque character, and he's playful and he's fun and he's and then we get this huge shift of, we see Rin just completely shut down and just be like, hey, like what, just questioning everything. And I think it's just, we're just craving that more. And same with Alondra, like she has been this silent, like stand behind and yeah, okay, very short, abrupt person that we're trying to get to know, and she's kind of like I don't want to talk about how I want to die and I'd like to leave this conversation, to all of a sudden like full-blown emotion, like yelling, full speech, and we really hear her voice for the very first time.
Yeah, because we all know Josh can bring that out in anyone.
But I think that's why we feel a little like we just kind of wanted to let this grow a little bit more.
Which, and I may be wrong, as a storyteller, that's exactly where I want you. I want you wanting more. I want you feeling like you would have liked it to go a bit longer. And I may be completely wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's my instinct. And that's kind of why but I love this thing about Sherwin and Winston. And so let's take a look at this. Super fun moment.
longed to be for so very long. You have Winston securely between your thighs, his reins in your hands.
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. That came off totally wrong.
I'm sorry, it's true. It's like I meant nothing.
Oh, okay, I said that.
But I knew it when I said it. I knew it when I said it. It's like, but you do. You have him securely between your thighs. You have mounted your steed, or Shorewind steed. You have his reins in your hands. What do you do?
All right, so I think the main thing I want to talk about here is the giggle fit. That was a fun moment, but there is nothing better than a Vivi giggle fit. So in that moment, you always were eyeing Winston. Shorewind never really had a chance to keep his mount. You always liked that horse, and this was the first time that you were able to kind of take him and commandeer him for your own. But it was so much fun. Just talk about that moment, and also tell us about the giggle fits.
Okay, well, first of all, that was the most glorious moment in the lifespan of Lilith. It was just kind of funny because she just, by happenstance, she's a druid, so obviously she's like, ooh, horse, so she's excited. And just like, I think Winston's character and how sassy he is too, it was just a really fun RP to RP with like Winston. And the giggle fits is purely because I have a very immature brain, and when you say you have it between your thighs, I just lost
No.
it.
You know what? You guys are a bad influence on me. I just want you to know that, because I know every
John,
time
I've seen you on other streams. It's not just
us. No, but that's what's happened to me. It's you guys. You have corrupted me because every time I say something, I see these giggles happen. No, okay, shame. I'm lying. Okay, all right, you're fine.
It's mainly just Vivi and I.
Well,
a lot of it is like phrasing too. So then, like when I get into the phrasing, like I'm trying to, and it sounds terrible, but like if you do ever watch back, like I'm snickering a lot.
No,
I'm
prodigious Heart of Adventure, not impressive. Continue. Sorry, Vivi.
Yes. So I mean, and then once you get me started, I just lose it, and then I can't. I'm just really immature. That's what the giggle fits are about.
Well, and
really.
look, and I think that's a fun part of what we do. Like I don't think we're ever overly inappropriate. We don't want to be that, but we do like telling a joke and having a little fun. Someone said earlier, Monty Python is my main influence, and yes, I think it comes out quite a bit. On the nose. Was it you, Evelyn? Yeah, I thought it's I can't help it, but it is true. All right, so I'm going to pull up some other clips, but Josh, you've been quiet tonight, and I know you warned me coming in. You've had a long day, you're tired, but let's talk about Brim for just a moment. Your motivations for him, the way you played him, he has been one of the most beloved and at times polarizing figures in the campaign.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for a one-word answer. All right, so let me help you out here. Let's go to Brim's confession, shall we?
Is healing to the soul.
Oh, F.
Tell me the truth.
So we go, F.
Is healing to the soul. Tell me the truth.
There used to be 5 of us. 6 of us. But one of them died once.
Rip Uthar.
And then taken a second time. I felt so helpless. I felt so lost and confused and angry. So angry. It plagues my mind day in and day out. I never knew my mother or father. But I know the blood, that ogreish blood, and the anger it carries with it. But this was above that. There was anger of both man and ogre inside of me, and it's still there. And part of me has given up, given into this anger, this darkness, and I'm okay. I don't. Part of me doesn't even worry. As I stepped out in that square, as I looked at the man I see is too good for me, so I try to never look at him. The Cavalier. And I looked at him this morning, and I told him I was done. That was it. I was tired, and I was done. So I went out there thinking I had a foe that could punish me, could give me pain, throw hurt on me for always failing, never being able to protect my friends, those I hold dear. And the more and more I thought, every hit I took, the more angry I got. The more fury and fire and brimstone built inside of me. Until I had no idea what was happening. And I felt like a dragon. I felt as my wings beat, and I felt air fly over me that I now know is the orc. And I looked behind me and I spewed my flame. Surprise, surprise, someone got hurt. I'm not sure if I'm scared of myself anymore, Father, and that scares me. I grew complacent. I grew okay. I don't want to hurt someone like that again, but I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'm not okay with it.
You hear a gulp on the other side of the curtain. You cannot give in. That is the way of darkness. You have a good heart. I've seen it. I have spoken, not just to this cavalier you speak of, but your friend Uther. He came here often. He spoke of you. You must appeal to your better angels. To give in to the darkness is to surrender to the Dark One.
It's just so hard. I just see the fear in others' eyes, and I just want to be it, so I no longer have to pretend like I'm not. But am I pretending? Or am I a good person? I don't know.
And you hear him stand up on the other side of the curtain. He pulls his curtain aside, clearly done, and the last words he utters, "You speak as though you seek to divine something which is within your power to choose. Whether you are good or evil, this is not of the gods. It is of your own will. You make that choice."
All right, Brim, that was a lot of foreshadowing, as was said. Thank you, Antiquitous, super active in the chat. I think it's appropriate to start with you, and I don't want to put you on the spot. I've given you kind of a light load tonight because I know you told me you're super tired and wrecked, and if you just babble all over yourself, and we do have that moment coming up in a moment as well. But just tell us, yeah, Rory knows what I'm talking about. In that moment, that role play, that character, what does that feel like to you to rewatch that?
Honestly, I barely remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, I think that's probably true for a lot of you, right? Because we got 180 hours or so of this stuff. I mean, thank you again, Rory. Incredible. But to look back at this, that's the whole point of this celebration, this retrospective, the moments that all of you have had as players, and this was frickin' awesome. So please, Josh, continue.
I mean, truthfully, that the priest that I have somewhere in my notes, he was such a big part of Brim's, I guess, path. Even now, he still thinks of the priest's words. And every day he tries to think, am I choosing, what am I choosing? What am I doing? Who am I doing it for? And still, like, even though he wants to say that he's made the choice, he likes to believe that it's either a light switch where you can just choose to go left or right. It's not that easy. And Brim still fights with that, with the anger, with the hatred, with the frustration.
Yeah, I think Rin completely agrees with this.
Brim's not sorry.
Yeah.
And like as many times as we're going to bring it up, Brim's not sorry. And he never will be.
Yeah. And no, that's we're going to save that topic for the back half of the show because I think that's a really good one. Rory, let me go to you. Again, you put all the work in here, and there's so much gold in these 49 different segments I have. Is there one you'd like me to play? You want me to go back to the scented wax ones? Because you mentioned those earlier. I have them up here and ready.
So I'm bummed because I'm looking through the ones in the drive. And what I don't see, and maybe I'm just not seeing it, and I know there's a couple in here untitled, but when Shorewin meets the group, and there's some others I can look at and pick out too, but that one, you know, the question earlier, I think it was Pat 66. Sorry, I lost my screen here. Was when Shorewin entered the group. He describes himself, right, Terry? You described the auburn hair and all this stuff, and all wonderful. But then you get into character and you say why Shorewin is in the Cron Hills. And we all full-heartedly believed you said beans. And we even asked you, Millie asked, what does... Because Gimbal said beans. And Millie said, and you said, yes, I'm looking for, well, I don't want to explain because I'm new to you guys, but I'm looking for orcs. And Millie said, what does beans and orcs have anything to do with each other? And there was just this hilarious moment probably because we're on stream, that we had this beans and beings being so close.
Yeah, I remember that quite well.
Hilarious moment.
Also, when you had just said orc and beans, it sounds like
pork and beans. That is awesome. That is awesome.
I never thought about that before, but when you said orc and beans, you're like orc and beans, and I'm like pork and beans. I'm like, was Terry trying to make a funny early on? I didn't realize.
I actually remember having to resist the urge to say orc and beans at the time because they just made me...
Oh, that is absolutely awesome. All right, so we're going to get ready for a break here. We'll have one break tonight. When we come back, I've got some of my favorite highlights. I've already kind of teased a bit of the Brim babbling. That's going to be fun. I want to talk about the resurrection and the process that happened with Gimbal. Sorry, go ahead, Evelyn.
Oh, and I have another question from chat, actually, from earlier on that I saved. So
okay.
When we come back.
Yeah, so all the chat, and that's a good point, Evelyn. Thank you. What I would like on the break, and just be a quick 5-minute break, anyone in chat, tell us what you'd like to talk about. Pop it in there. We're going to answer all the questions coming after the break, and we have a few highlights and videos. And tonight, I'm giving away absolutely nothing except all of this fun with these players. Now, tomorrow night, I do have Demon Goon. John Fuller is going to be with us, and we're doing some really fun stuff inside of Tailspire. The custom mods. There's all kinds of new things coming out for this tool that are going to be a blast. I saw Mike Disney and Tea Time with Taryn earlier, and of course I'm repping the Overgord shirt here, but if you missed it on the weekend, because I showed this on Sunday, this is the Blue Box custom Mike Disney painted Overgord.
Look how beautiful it is.
It is so gorgeous. The camera does not do it justice.
Wait, John.
Yes.
Would you say it's gorgeous?
Just
No, I have already said it's over gorgeous. I've said that before.
dang.
Yes, you're late, Josh. All right, so please, fans, question: when is the next adventure? All right, we'll talk about that, Asher. Also, I want to talk about Kristoff and Orth Journal and Greyhawk Online because we're collaborating. When we get ready, I mentioned in the chat on Discord that there will be no GHA next Tuesday, so we have a week off. That gives us 2 weeks. I'm getting all the artwork finished. I've got some other surprises that are coming. I want to get ready in those 2 weeks. And we're working with Kristoff and Greyhawk Online to do some fun things to really promote and cross-promote GHO, Orth Journal, Blue Box, and all the stuff we're doing here that are supporting the great streams over, old school gaming and the Greyhawk community. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be right back in just a couple of moments. I'm going to leave the mics hot as always. Please pop your questions in the chat. Blue Box will be right back.
Chewbacca?
Thank you for the Chewbacca yawn there. Yeah, well done, Josh.
I'm sorry.
No,
I sent you a DM, John.
Okay, great.
Oh, you're getting a DM soon?
Hey,
Cool.
Josh, great time for you. While John reads the message I sent him, for you to talk about your amazing, clean, shiny, and sparkly gift.
So in the past months, I've thought of Rory every time I've gotten into the shower.
You gotta keep listening, otherwise it sounds.
See, you and Vivi, you do this to me. I told you they've corrupted me. I told you. It's not my fault.
I've played with you before we were on stream. I know that is a lie, sir.
No, it was never like this. It's gotten. Are you kidding me, Evelyn? It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse, hasn't it?
So you take showers. That's good.
Yeah, I take showers and I think of you. Now
And-
the reason.
Sorry to interject, but I gotta put this clear point in there. You were only using the soap sparingly.
Yes, very sparingly.
Right. So now continue your story.
So,
Where did this all begin?
Back
Yeah.
at BBC,
BBC.
Gimbal gave me a thing of soap
Yeah. Why?
because I hadn't moved to LA yet, and he wanted me to have a clean start, as he put it, which was very funny. And I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious! I love it."
Right,
And
like a dad joke, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And the soap was what's it called?
It's like Sasquatch.
Sasquatch,
It was an
that's what it
all
is.
natural, non-oil,
All-natural,
non-detergent type soap.
Non-Rory soap.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Very gimbalish.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Like, smelled incredible. And so I was using it
it's
so
good soap.
sparingly. I would only use it for special occasions, like parties, actually going out and doing stuff with people, like all of that. So then Rory's like, "Hey, man, you gotta start using the soap more because it doesn't have the same kind of how'd you put it?
Like, because it doesn't have the detergents or the chemicals in it that your standard soap does, it actually will go bad sooner.
Is that true, or are you just trying to get?
I
me
just
to-
totally made that up. I don't know
Okay,
if it's
you-
true or
you
not. I just
BS
needed you to
little
use the
gnome.
soap because I wasn't going
Okay.
to wait a year for this to happen.
Okay. So I started using this soap more because I was like, "Oh crap, I don't want it to go bad because it smells so good."
Yeah.
And so I started using the soap more. Well, I had to clean something off, so I go to pick up the soap that's been sitting in the shower. So of course it's been getting water on it, so it started to like break down faster and faster.
You don't have a soap tray?
No. I do
Oh
have
my
a soap
goodness.
tray. I do have a soap tray, but it's like right in
No,
the
it's
middle
got to
of
have
the shower.
holes in it.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I've got the soap tray, but it doesn't have holes. This place was made in the 70s. Okay,
Hey, I
like,
bought
this
my
is not
soap
the
tray.
highest
I
class
didn't
stuff.
use my shelf. I bought my. And continue.
I should
I'm
get
just
one. Whatever. Get out of here. Okay, but I pick up this soap
Yeah.
and I look down and I'm like, "Huh, that's weird. There's some sort of residue left in the soap tray. This place is gross enough. It's probably because it was just left there."
Yeah, you're in
So
LA, so what do you expect?
Yeah. And so I pick up the soap to go to wash something.
Yeah.
I look down in my hands.
Yeah. Hey, do you
And I
remember, Josh? Do you
see-
remember getting a pair of gloves from me? a
Yes,
pair of
yes, and I
gloves?
gave those away.
Yep. So continue your story.
And I look down and I see probably about the size of my palm, which I have big hands.
Yeah.
So the size of my palm, in the very center, nestled into it like a baby chick to its mother, I see this massive amount of green glitter that had been put as if a baby into this freaking bar of soap. And so finally, I text our Wayward Bolt group chat, being like, hey, guys, I got a bone to pick with Rory.
And that's all he said.
That's all I said.
Yeah.
And what did you say, Rory?
I said, to be fair, I said, which bone do you need to pick?
I love you for that every day.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure whether I've been falling in love with Lilith or with
both.
One of the two.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly. The answer is yes.
So I'm trying to find it. I don't know.
It's scroll up a little ways. It's not too far back.
It's not too far back.
I have a bone to pick. Which bone do you want? So Rory.
I'm a big fan of the tibia.
This is Josh now. So Rory, ... Not 3, not 1, not 4, 2. Rory, ... I love my soap. I squint narrow. Harry, long line of ha 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 ha. Terry, it finally happened. Laughing emoji.
I'm so pissed.
Evelyn, I haven't said anything, and all Josh said is I have a bone to pick. Evelyn, I remember hearing about the soap. Seems to get you sparkly clean. Harry. Hey, Vivi. Basically, right? He added Vivi. So, Vivi. Oh, no. That caught me off guard the first time, too. That confused me. Skip. Finally comes back. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's confusing in the chat here.
We were talking about two different things at the same time.
Yeah.
That threw me off the first time I read this, too. So, okay, yeah, my bad. Okay, nice. So then, finally, I interject. Josh. ... Looks down and twists toes in the dirt. Like, yes. So then it went on, and he finally, what was that, yesterday, a couple days ago, posted a picture of the soap with the ball of glitter in the center.
Wait, you forgot what I said?
What did you say?
I said...
What color was the glitter?
No, I said, Mister, I only use the soap on
special occasions.
I've had a lot of special occasions the past little bit.
Yeah, I can't remember what the heck it was.
So everyone chimed in because everyone knew.
I was so pissed. I was like, you all knew?
Yep.
Like, betrayal and
it wasn't just us either. There was several people at BlueBoxCon that knew.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in that kind of huddle where you went off doing something or another. Kind of informed everyone except for Vivi at that point, and then Vivi found out like 4 weeks ago.
See, so that's not bad because I only found out 3 weeks ago. So it says I thought it was going to take forever. Laughing my ass off, Mister. I only use it for special occasions.
I love that. All right. So I am going to let Evelyn run the back half of this show, as I said earlier. But I want to go ahead and let Rory's request be made known, which is he has 3 videos that he wants to make sure we show, which are all associated with Lilith. So congratulations, Vivi. And I'm going to kill the ambient music here.
It's because Lilith is our beloved.
She is the beloved. There is no doubt. So we're going to start with asking. Wow, I remember this.
Should I bring the tissues out?
I don't know. For me, like any Lilith moment is a tissue moment. But let me pull this
Whether you be
out.
laughing or crying.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's so true. So let me pull this one up here. Lilith asks for. I got it right. Where is it? I saw it 1 second ago. There we go. I got it. Here we go.
Gimbal.
Pull this back and. So hard.
Gimbal.
Perhaps next time you go wandering off, you let somebody know first?
We were kind of running for our lives right there. I just took coverage, and then you were... Lilith, what were you doing?
Oh, I have an in with Winston.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lilith, you are completely right. I should have let you guys know.
Okay, yeah. I think, it'd just be better. But then we can keep an eye on you and know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that is Gimbal's rock back there. So is this, but that's Big Gimbal's rock.
This is the... Can I see the rock?
Yeah, there you go. He was about to ramble on about how that's Big Gimbal, but this is regular Gimbal, and so on and so forth. But, yep, here you go. That's my rock.
And what does it look like? Just a regular rock?
Yeah. I mean, it might be some kind of agate or just a regular rock. It's just basically a rock from this.
What do you plan on doing with this gimbal?
I don't really know yet.
Can I have it?
Yeah, I mean, I got a big one over there. Yeah, go ahead. You can have it.
All right, so the chat was blowing up about your beard, Josh, obviously. But that was not the main point. Players, talk about that. I thought that was a great moment. Rory, why did you really want to pull that out?
Because of how all three connect is why, and I think it's pretty, I mean, it's to the heart of the group and its name. So just the development and stuff that it comes into.
Are you okay, Josh? No, you don't look okay.
Delusion has set in.
Are you just sad the beard is gone? And
the hair too.
And Terry has now
less of a man.
Terry has usurped you.
I mean, I've always found Terry
Beard supremacy.
incredibly attractive, but it is overwhelming tonight. I did it back, but then I realized I have my mouth covered. I thought it was going to be the letter. So I buckled up.
Well played. Well played. Yes, the chat is loving it. All right. So Lilith also, she had such important moments in this campaign, and this was one of them.
And all away. Winston still mounted by Shorewind.
She couldn't help. Like every time I said that, she just thought so.
How does that work?
You have them.
So Lilith will dig in her pocket. It's the same kind of pocket that she had Gimbal's rock in, that she kept her hand in. You guys will notice then when we were down in the wherever the caves. She pulls out instead of Gimbal's rock. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of the same necklaces that looks like what Millie's wearing around her neck. And she'll go around and she'll start placing them around each of your necks. I know I was being a bit weird in the cave. I wasn't praying. I have a spell to soften and manipulate stone. This is Gimbal's rock, and I've shaped it into a bolt for us, the Wayward Bolt.
So that was the moment the Wayward Bolt was formed.
Are you waiting for context?
Oh, I can outwait you all now. Yeah, I go ahead.
It was technically formed before that point. It was just we had a symbol because it came from session 0 when Uthar hit her right in the head with the bolt.
No, that's true. I'm sorry. I should have said it different. The canonization, the formal forming was that moment. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That's where it came from. And poor Uthar. I
mean, he left a long-standing.
He did.
You could not roll above like a 5.
Left a few it was only for a few sessions, but carried that Wayward Bolt throughout the whole entire session. That Wayward Bolt actually was made out of Gimbal's rock, and the string, it's green on there. It's from the simple dress that Brim had bought for Lilith and Millie by mistake, because Brim had sent us out to buy a dress for Tisa and then Lilith mistakenly thinking that we were all getting dresses and got really excited. And so Brim's like, okay, fine, you guys can all have a
Brim
dress.
can't say no.
Why did you make that? I've been curious about that because, like, the second video, or the one that would have been before that, is you in the cave after the resurrection, actually creating it. So
yeah, I'm sorry. Let me play that here real quick. I know what you want to hear.
Praying. Yeah, I'd like to do that for the next minutes.
Okay. All right. As Ashrin and Brim are praying, anyone else doing anything, or just waiting?
Lilith will go near the edge of the cave and just kind of lean against the cave wall and slump down, pulling out from her pocket Gimbal's rock. She'll kind of just hold it in her hand and look down at it as she kind of cries softly.
All right, and so you're looking at Gimbal's rock. Nostalgia wells up inside you. All of his witty comments, all of his fun moments, his cleverness, his quips, and his good-heartedness, it all just sort of comes back to you. Even as you look at the rock, you feel not only a sense of thinking about Gimbal, but Jeru Ashstaff flashes through your mind. There is some sort of connection here. After a few moments, you hear the rush of footsteps, and a small gnome, sorry, it was redundant, but a smaller gnome than the others, in a green cloak. He comes rushing in, slightly out of breath. The divine priest, Agar the aged, he has called for you. He has said that Gimbal's spirit has gone beyond into the glitter holes and is very, very difficult to recover. It's urgent. We need you.
That's the moment you talked about, right, Rory?
Yeah, so I've just been curious, like, so at what point did you decide to make a wayward bold? Because you got the rock early on, probably because you eclectic or whatever that is, like you just collect everything. And then there comes a time when you actually craft it using different items from the group, and then you give it. So, like, just kind of your thought behind that.
I think, again, like, this is part of the stream where things started to become more of a reality to me, and like my connection with all of these characters really grew stronger and stronger. And with like Gimbal's death, I was kind of in a point where I was kind of thrown off by it because I wasn't ready for it. We weren't prepared for it. And all of a sudden I was just like, wait, I need something to tie us together as a group. And the last thing, like, I didn't know whether you were going to survive or not, and that was the thing. And I said I wanted to I knew for sure I wanted to use Gimbal's rock in a sense to make something, craft something, whether or not Gimbal died or not, just to carry it on if you did pass. And I just kind of looked at my spells and I was like, oh, I have softened stone, and like, that's awesome, like that'd be perfect. So I messaged John privately and asked if that was something I could do. And because it was going to be a group symbol, I was like, what else do I have on my person that I could use as a string, essentially, to kind of tie everything together? And with Gimbal's death, I think the last kind of like little like playful moment that she had with Gimbal was this exchange where you're just like, oh, I found a rock up there and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, can I have it? She's like, but can I have it? And she kind of asked for it, even though it was his, and her just being her very like, she doesn't understand social cues and stuff like that. So she was just like, she's like, that's great. Can I have that? Like, I like that rock. I want it too. And so it was kind of just a tie-in from her last kind of playful, happy moment with Gimbal before he had passed, and trying to utilize that in a way where we could essentially bring the entire group together. Because I was not ready for Gimbal's death, nor did I want him to die. So I needed something to kind of tie us together. And I think it just kind of by happenstance, and even just like, and I think that's very true to Lilith's character. Like the rock, like with the rock, you're like, hey, like, look at this rock I found. And you're trying to explain. She's like, yeah, can I have that? And even with the dress, like it's
Gimbal?
misunderstanding with
Perhaps next
with
time
Brim, where Brim's
you go
like,
wandering
"Hey, can
off,
go
you
get
let
the
somebody
dress
know
for
first."
Tisa," and then you're like, "Oh, you're buying dresses."
We
for all
were
this
kind of
wonderful."
running for our lives right there. I
It's
just
like
took
it's a very like her
coverage,
very
and then
playful
you were
Lilith in essence.
Lilith, what were
altogether.
you doing?
Oh, I have an in with Winston.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lilith, you are completely right. I should have let you guys know.
Okay.
But she started to let you know.
Yeah, it'd just be better. Well, then we can keep an eye on you and know what's going on.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So well done. Thank you so much for that. Other comments, Vivi? Like your moments with this were so incredible.
I don't think I have. I think that was pretty much the happenstance of all that Gimbals Rock and turning it into the Wayward Bolt, and then I got onto a thing where I wanted to make the Wayward Bolt a physical thing that everybody in this group could have, because in that moment too, with not only our characters I think bonded together, but like us as a group outside of game, we started to really bond together and really get together and like love each other and are like super awesome friends. And I love these guys so much, and every Tuesday I'm here and I'm happy to play. Like I'm making like lifelong friendships here on Blue Box. So I mean, that's essentially why. And I know that you guys all got my Canadian packages, and I left you all a very long-winded letter, just kind of professing my thanks to everybody in this group and how much you guys meant to me in game and out of game as well. So that's why.
Yeah, no, we did, and thank you. I'm so humbled. The outreach from the players and the community has been amazing, and I think this is only going to be. I'll promise you. I know this early first half of the session, and I'm turning it over to you, Evelyn, as I'm playing with Amanda's dinosaur here. But the first part of the session included a referendum on my choice to end Book 1 at this point. But I will only say to all the players, I promise you, I will make the second part, the third part, all of it better. You're going to love what's coming. And I love the viewers and the mad chatters, but I play D&D to make my players love the game and enjoy what they're doing, and I am committed to that. Evelyn, take it away.
Okay, I have 3 questions for chat, and everybody, again, if you want to add any questions, just preface it with question in all caps so it makes it easier for us to see it. But the first question actually was from a little while ago. Pat66 had a 2-part question. The first part is directed to John, and it's why did you have some of us chatters play the NPCs, and did we surprise you with some of the interactions? And the other half of this question, so that the players have a chance to think about it while John answers, is how did you feel about the NPCs of Hamlet? So ponder on that while John answers.
Yeah, so that includes Federum, Cat. So why?
Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah, right. So the why was to better tell the story to the players and to better involve the viewers. It was both. So it's like a win-win, right? So we're telling stories and we're getting people involved, and one person, i.e. me, or even 6 people, i.e. us, cannot tell this story in the best possible way. So I really wanted to figure out a way to make this extend beyond just what we do on Tuesday nights and involve the players and the viewers, and I was blown away. And so even though the town of Hamlet is decimated, do not think this is the end of the Discord NPC chats that are going to happen.
All right, players. How did you feel about the NPCs of Hamlet?
So Lilith had only really interacted with Federum, so that his death was super, super hard on her, because she just kind of went into Federum's, and then again, like they were, or I can't remember what they were saying, but they were saying that it was by a mistake. Like when they were talking about the scented pots, it was a mistake, and I had mistaken what they were trying to say, and then it turned into this thing that became such a huge pivotal important key point in between Millie and Lilith's relationship, that kind of just stemmed for fun. Like we were just RPing on Discord, And I was like, hey, I have these scented pots now. And she was just like all about the sweet rolls because, she's all about that life. And then just by happenstance in that one small moment, she just kind of reached out very uncomfortably to Millie, who was not used to her at all. And was like, hey, I'm going to touch you now. I'm in your personal space. And the more that Lilith did it, the more comfortable Millie got with it and more accepting. And I think she opened up more because of it. And just a bond. I don't want to speak for Evelyn's character, but I think just a bond grew between them and like a sisterhoodship, and we became like sisters. And she was just like Lilith's big sister. Mind you, she doesn't have any siblings, but the closest thing that she thought a big sister would be to her. So a huge impact, Federum, on Lilith's character anyway.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, just kind of the same thing, right? So Gimbal bought eggs and milk. He bought salt and pepper. He bought the item for Squeaks. He bought garments for Squeaks as well as for himself, a double-colored two-tone type coat. So just having that, and I've ran a kind of a text RP along with one-shots, and so that interaction is very fun for me because it crosses over. So I definitely enjoyed that extra layer. It kind of bummed up me, kind of was a bummer sometimes because if people weren't paying attention to that, they would lose out. But it was very enjoyable for myself to be able to blend the two.
Well, I'll speak really quickly. Yeah, so Millie had at least interactions with all of the three in chat, and I mean, there's other NPCs that we, had interacted with in game, like Oster Gundagoot, who Millie was very fond of, just because of his very generous nature, and Millie always appreciated that. There was another NPC that I'm not going to talk about right now, but
no, you got to talk about Galen, please.
Yeah, so Millie was one who was very very enjoyed life, and she needed to blow off some steam one night. And actually, that was the first time that the perfume oil came up. Was Lilith was trying to prepare her for her meeting with Galen, and he had actually been the NPC who was had given us kind of several of our first things to see to, and Millie just liked the cut of his jib and asked him to stay over one night. So yeah, anyway, but as far as the other NPCs go, Millie
but wait, so I'm sorry, interrupt you, and that was so well played because it was a fade to black moment, right? So it's telling the story, but not graphically. So there's innuendo here occasionally, and there's fade to black, but it's never graphic, and I thought you played that so well.
Thank you. But as far as the others go, so Federum, she had probably had the most interaction with, and it was kind of a similar thing. Like, she bought the sweet rolls because she knew that Lilith liked them, and that was just another thing that came back to the connection. And just being fond of, his being sort of just a very kind person. And then, Hannah helped her kind of start reestablishing, her style again, and finding those things. And then, of course, Kat. Kat was someone that Millie very much did not like, because Kat was very judgmental of Millie from what she perceived in that moment, and Millie always had a problem with people who were very snap judgmental sort of people. So yeah, she was not fond of Kat.
And I want to say, Rip Ostler. This was one of my favorite NPCs, and I was so sad to kill him, but I did. So what else, Evelyn?
Let's see. So the next question is the next adventure happening at the same time as the previous adventure or after?
So good. Yeah. So there were two questions. There was one timing, and the other was locale. And I've answered this for all the players, so I'd really like the players to answer this if they can. So, where's the locale and what's the timing?
The Great Kingdom is where we will be starting off next time, and that area of Greyhawk, and then the timing. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's supposed to kind of possibly run concurrently a little bit with the events of Book 1.
Any other players heard different things? She was 99% correct.
Greyhawk.
What year are we in?
Oh, so we're all 40 years past. So we're in the early 600s of GHA. But the idea is that this campaign will be somewhat coterminous, but not exactly. So again, go back to my example with George R.R. Martin and the Song of Fire and Ice. You know, you may have some overlap. You may have some gaps in periods where there are different things happening, but it will be in the Great Kingdom.
All right.
I'm waiting you out, Evelyn.
And then the other question that I have was everyone's favorite crit or kill that we had done in or by anybody else in the campaign.
I think practically almost every single one of Millie's or Yolanda's crits were just
so wrong.
Like all 800 of them.
Roll the clips.
Oh. 3 hours long, Rory. What?
I think there was a lot of really good crits, and John's description of all crips, crips. No, not crips, crits. I think. Yeah, okay, Lilith's Nutcracker scene. Yes, that was a good one.
I mean, she had the nickname from then on.
I think a crit that I really want to talk about is Halia's crit. Like, I think that one was a very I kind of feel indifferent about that crit because of the situation that everything happened. Like, yes, and the second that it happened, we were so relieved, but then there was just so much emotion, and it was just such a high, like a really high, and then a really low right after it. And I don't think we really got to kind of celebrate that crit the way that we would have celebrated it. Like, this whole thing from day one has been about Halia, and like the day that Halia dies, we can't even like celebrate it properly because something else right after that immediately happens, and it was just like yes, and then it was like oh. Now we're in this position. So I think like that for me is a really odd crit that was to be celebrated but kind of not. So
all right, so we knew this would come up, so let's dive into it now for a moment. And yeah, Evelyn, I'll like you can take it away from here. But as a DM again, as I was role playing that, and it was a pretty significant combat. There were the demon, which you don't even know what it was, but I know what it was. The demon that was summoned. You had the Red Lord. You had Halia. You had the Paling, and I thought that was a really strong possibility for a TPK, but not overbalanced. So I thought it could happen either way. And yes, Elandra, not Yolanda. Rory, Elandra, she had these incredible crits, and there were other great actions and all the role play. You had Vivi with the stone shaping, which kind of briefly captured the demon and delayed him by a round. It created a fun combat, but at the end of the day, it was a deadly combat, and you succeeded. And then Halia was slain. And in my mind, thinking about the episode, I thought like, okay, they could either all die, which would be a great story to end with. That's a good story if they all die and the BBEG wins, and then we go to book 2. But the other was like, okay, there's a victory, and they're all celebrating. I thought maybe if you won, there would be rejoicing, and I thought that episode might end with just a sense of levity and huzzah! And instead, it all went sideways. And I blame you a bit, Rory, but I blame you a lot, Josh. As a DM, you absolutely took it in you screwed me over. But
you left the door open.
I did. It's my. I know. I did.
You told Gimbal that basically his family is in immediate danger, and he had a quick chance to get there. And he splits parties a lot, so.
I think a lot is an understatement.
Hey, literally like 90% of the time when he splits the party, it benefits the party. Maybe not this time, but most of the time.
Evelyn, you're still in charge.
I was gonna throw in my one quick favorite crit moment. It was actually the double crit from Gimbal's death to Millie killing the orc that killed Gimbal. From a storytelling point of view, that was one of, I think, the most powerful crit combinations as far as the story goes, because the dice were just like, hey, let me make the story happen, and it just did, and it was great, and I loved that.
Do we have that Gimbal, Rory? Is that one of the videos you have?
I know I have it on my phone.
There was one of the it was Storgajol, right? Let's just pull a couple of these.
That was a different orc.
Yeah,
it was just a random orc fight.
You have Gimbal's death, but I think I pulled that one out because I was trying to narrow down all the clip. I have a lot of
all of it.
Yeah, you have like half of them.
All right. Well.
So, but it was right after, if I'm remembering right, Evelyn. So, Gimbal cast the dragon illusion. And
the red dragon.
So awesome, so horrible. Then he dies through a spear through the neck with that crit. That's the first of the two, right, Evelyn?
Yeah.
So he gets a crit. And then Evelyn screams in anger as Millie lashes out on that orc and crits on him.
Yeah. There was one of those moments that
and then Evelyn, you wipe the blood on the stone.
Yeah, she wrote in Orcish the warning.
Do we not have that clip, Rory?
No, we don't.
I can't be mad at you. You've had every other clip. All right.
But that's why I put the clips like I did, because they get us talking about this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Evelyn.
All right, so next question. John, did you have a storyline you wanted to tell, but the characters went away from it? Or did you get to tell all you wanted for this chapter?
That was a great, who was that from?
That was from Roger, I believe. Let me scroll back
Keith,
up.
thank you so much. And yeah, it's confusing. His Twitch name is Roger, but he's actually Keith. Keith, one of my favorite questions. I had so many stories I wanted to tell. And as a DM, that's one of the hardest things, at least for me, to just accept. Back to the conversation I had with Terry a moment ago, the story and how you let the story unfold. You make plans. We talked about the structured sandbox last week on our LMA. As a DM, you have plans, and you think, okay, this might go this way, and I could maybe tell the story this way. And I have so many things that I want to say or have come up. But when the players decide to go right, and I thought they were going to go left, then the story just goes a different way. I don't want to say it dies, but like the piece of the arc I had dies, and then I have to come up with a new piece in the new story arc. And this is the difference between running a structured one-shot and playing a truly interactive campaign with brilliant players.
Right. Next question. This was from Thomas, I believe. Was there ever a piece of dialogue left unspoken or a thread of story that you as a player or DM wish you could have gone a little bit further to uncover more about your character?
Vivi.
Jeru. Finding Jeru's a bloody cloth, and then just not, it kind of got away from me and I totally forgot about it. And then I would just and then the flower, the flower is something, the Jeru's flower is something I really wanted to find out about, but it's too late now.
Well,
or maybe
okay, so
it's not.
No. So really quickly, Jeru's flower, I left that. That was the last piece. But I love the fact you mentioned that, because that was also tough for me. And I think there were parts of that story that were not told. And then I would mention Tilia. Tilia was a huge sort of storyline gap just that never happened.
Who is Tilia? Because
Tilia is a Rune Lord's character. She's the school teacher.
Oh.
I have two of them here. There's I've used that name twice. I'll pull her up here.
I don't remember her in the context of this.
Yes.
I remember her in Rune Lords.
Not important.
No, I reuse names occasionally, but not too often. I mean, golly, I'm running a lot of campaigns. But no, you found the amulet inside the moat house, and you were supposed to return it to her, and you never did. You just kind of like forgot about it. And I had several times I was like, I should remind them, and I thought, no, don't. And it died. It was a fun storyline, but it never happened.
It's very much still in my inventory. I look at it every now and then.
Because I'm pretty sure Gimbal was like, hey, I want to do this thing. And then we're like, no, we're going over here because this is more important. I think.
And you know what? I realized what I just did. I needed to defend Evelyn's honor. Not necessary, but just doing it anyway. It was not Tilia. It was Yilia. I got those two names confused. So this was Yilia. She was the wife bereft of her husband by the horrible actions of the Red Lords in the moat house, and you had her husband's item to return, and it didn't happen, and it was kind of sad for me.
And I remember actually when that happened in context was also at the same time we had heard about the Rangers that had gone missing in the woods, and so we were kind of trying to choose our next thread of fate, basically, like which way we were going to go. And that was actually the moment where we chose to go with Shorewin to seek out Githa and go after Storgajol. It was right at that point, because those were the three things that we had been looking at, and we went south again.
Okay, yes, I think that's right, but I felt in the moment, and again, like, you guys correct me, I'm just, heck, I can barely remember all these story arcs in my own mind, but I think being back in Hamlet, this would have been a quick sort of detour, help her, give her back. It was an amulet, I think, that you had.
It was a locket.
A locket, yes, a locket. Locket, yeah. A locket you could have given her and moved on before pursuing Storgajol and going off to the Krons, and for whatever reason, the party just didn't.
Yeah.
And if it was, and actually, that's a good question for me as a DM. Was that intentional for you as players? Like, you just thought, like Evelyn, I think that's what you're suggesting was for Millie, that you just thought, nah, it's not that important, we're going to pursue this, or was it just an oversight?
I just think we had so many things that we wanted to do all at once that it was just, which choice are we making in this moment? So.
Josh, go ahead. Josh was going to talk.
Was that when Shorewin was like, we are leaving to go do this right now?
I don't know,
and it was because of that Shorewin kind of saved our lives because it got us out of Hamlet quicker.
I don't
was
know.
It that time, or was that another time?
I don't think that Shorewin was with the group yet, because Gimbal found the locket.
Yeah, that was found in the moat house.
In the moat house. We came back. We had some text RP time, and then we head out to the Kron Hills, and then we meet Shorewin. So Shorewin wasn't quite in the group yet.
Yeah.
But like you said, Evelyn, we were picking and choosing. What are we gonna do? And there was a mention, like you said, Vivian. Well, we could do that. Okay, and we just went left instead of right.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my sense. I didn't think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Vivi.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't think it was like a willful, sort of oversight. I just think it was, lots of things going on, and it got forgot by the players. And so, to the question, are there story arcs you as a DM or as a player would have liked to seen filled out? There was a whole story arc around that just never got filled.
I mean, I feel like I've covered what I wanted to cover more about. So, is there anybody else that had a response to the question about that?
Well, let me. Oh, sorry. Anyone else?
What? Say the question again.
Was there a piece of dialogue left unspoken, or a thread of a story that you, as a player or DM, wish could have gone that little bit further to uncover more about your character?
Yeah, I would say so. And I just let it kind of go. But so Gimbal would always roll up his coat sleeves and not his white sleeves. That was a very continual theme of his. And then after his death, he said, screw it, and he pulled up his sleeves. And he just said, kind of like, I've been there now, I've been there. And he looks down and he sees the markings on his arms. So Gimbal, he's still alive, so there's some things I guess I don't want to fully disclose because we will eventually come back.
Right.
But you might all forget by then.
No one will forget.
But there was markings on his arm, and there's the significance of those. But there's just such a heavy moment at that time, him just coming back, that it just wasn't surfacing. But there is that kind of subtleness to his passive behavior, his indications or clues about his father, about his experience in the afterlife, and the markings on his arm that would have been interesting to explore.
I like
Can
that.
I say that Sherwin's story, Lilith feels like is left untold as well? Had Sherwin had stayed,
Yes.
would Sherwin and Lilith ride off in the sunset? With firmly between their thighs? I don't know.
You were already married.
You never know.
Ooh, Shorewin comes back, the love triangle that grows. Ooh. Manga, here we
Shorewin,
come.
what are you doing?
And now it just got complicated because there's a llama involved.
Yeah, the death llama will interfere.
All right. Next question from They Call Me Tim. For the players, what research did you do to prepare playing your character?
So when we're talking about these characters, not book 2 characters, right?
Yeah, these characters.
And I think that's a great question because I've seen so much done by these players. So please tell what you've done for book 1. And let's go ahead and give a teaser what you did for book 2.
Okay. I studied ships, like everything to have to do with like sailing. I studied actual like period terms for parts of ships and everything that I would need to know in case we ever got to the point of getting onto a ship with Millie and following that storyline. So I was prepared. But yeah. But for my new character, I've been doing a lot of research into dwarven lore because she is a dwarf, and there was a lot I do not know about dwarves because I've never played a dwarf before. So I've been spending a lot of time in that and looking at everything in that. I don't want to say too much though because I don't want to spoil anything for what's coming up. But yeah. Who else? What'd you do?
What'd you do? Rory, you want to go?
I mean, I can. I was just staying silent because I'll share the love. But if no one else is gonna go, I'll go.
Your turn, Rory.
Your turn, Rory.
Kind of as it was explained during the Blue Box Con, right? So Gimbal is wizard illusionist, right? So I pulled from Oz, and so that's literally the image. The Oz movie to Gimbal is the same stance, everything. It's the same image. And then just I had to learn about gnomes, kind of like you, Evelyn, with dwarves. It's just like, especially in this setting, verse 5e, and figuring out, okay, so, you hear me goof it all the time in the first few 55 episodes of like, he refers to like, oh, I'm from the city, because I didn't really understand. Whoa, what? You a gnome, a rock gnome, don't understand the hills? So it's stuff like that, and so just learning like his interactions with Brim. Brim asks Gimbal like, "Hey, what is it like?" And I was in my head like, I don't have a clue. So I had to go actually learn about gnomes and that, and then also looking up illusions, like actual illusions and the play of the mind with illusions and things like that, so that I could interject that into my description to hopefully kind of navigate how Gimbal is using his illusions throughout the game. As far as the next character for the next chapter, kind of the same thing, except this time I involved Becca in it, my girlfriend, saying, "Hey, what is your favorite story character arc? And let's bring that in some fashion, shadow that into this character." And so I just had fun with that. And then Now, again, it's a new class, it's a new race, so there's a lot that I have to. But psychology would be the study there.
I guess I'll go next. You know what? Learning all these 4 wonderful players here and how well prepared they are with everything, I would say that I am the party's least prepared member. Everybody knows Evelyn is a freaking whiz with a multitude of things that she does. Master multitasker. I've seen Rory prepare down to the speech that he's going to say. For when he was going to be away for a game, he'd asked if I would run his character, like down to like the last little bit of detail. Terry as well, same with Josh. Like you guys all do extensive research and stuff like that. Me, on the other hand, I am, like I said, the least prepared member. Typically, a lot of people prepare before before stream. Usually, as someone has said before, I usually prepare my food before I sit down. However, the funny thing, so when I had first started playing Lilith, it was funny because John had asked me to stream. I think he thought that I had streamed before.
I did. Yeah, you're right. I did. I was wrong, but
yeah, you were wrong.
Not the first time. It won't be the last.
But it was actually really funny. So I didn't really know a lot about Greyhawk and things like that, and hence why Lilith comes from the middle of the Vespi forest, and she knows nothing because Vivi IRL also knows nothing. So it was a very easy player for me to start off with, especially on a stream that I wasn't really comfortable with or I didn't really know how to play. And that's kind of where, and like I said, like Lilith and Vivi are very like in line. Like Lilith is just an exaggerated version of me. So like again, like where Lilith kind of taps into a lot of physical touch. Like I'm a very physical touch person, just in real life. Like somebody had called me out on that like a year ago, and then I only realized that I was a very physically touched person because I would go and like fix, like if your hood like of your sweater was inside out, if I knew you well enough, I would come and fix it and just kind of like and do things like that. And one of my friends had said that was one of the best things that I do because it's very motherly. So they always feel like they're cared for. So like in that sense, like I'm very much like Lilith, and I do, if you notice, like during the streams, she does do a lot of physical touch more than she speaks words in a lot of actions with Sherwin, with Brim, with Gimbal, with Millie. Like there's everything that she does, a lot of it is very more physical touch and just her presence being there for support than more so than it is words. With my new character, however, I have taken on some lovely tips from my co-players, and I have researched a little bit more, so I know exactly. I looked at the Greyhawk map. I picked out where I was from. I think the other day I was just confused, and then Terry was like, "Where's your barbarian from? Or what clan is your barbarian?"
Well, and there's a whole backstory for that, because Terry and I were talking offline, because there's a whole so that's awesome.
Yeah, so he had said like, "Oh, what clan is your barbarian from?" And I was like, "I don't know, but this is what I know." And he's like, "Oh, okay, so that clan." I was like, "Oh, yes, okay."
So real quick, like it was you, it was Terry, it was me, and it was Tim, because Tim has the all barbarian stream that he's running, and he influenced me, and I sent a lot of his material to Terry, so that was so much fun.
Oh, okay, you can send me some. I'll read it.
Well, you're
I'm in book 2. I'm getting better at like preparing a little bit for streams. Although like food usually is the higher priority, and then preparing for streams. So I mean, like, that's kind of just where I'm at.
Oh, that's awesome.
Joshua, Terry?
I do too much research. But that falls back to my design work, where I do a combination of historical and conceptual research. Historical being, in a fantasy world, historical being what I can find, historically speaking, via wikis or what John sends me, getting a decent knowledge of the background of the area that we'll be in, why my character is who he is. And then conceptually speaking, I do a lot of conceptual research that deals with emotions and understanding psychologically who and what the character is. I use a lot of artwork and photography for that for myself, because what it allows me to do is to, I mean, the historical stuff is great, but obviously we as humans are deeper than what we see from each other, and trying to find out how to incorporate the kind of conceptual idea behind the character is important because it helps bring that character to life.
No, so Terry, I want to jump in there because I've joked with you a bit, but you have provoked me. You're so good at this, and I am thinking of the artwork you sent me to give to Frederica. You're the first person ever, and this is no shade on anyone else, just a celebration of you, to have conceptual models for hair and artwork for tattoos and multiple options to inspire the artist to create the proper vision, and pinging me about the background of barbarians and what this is what I think makes. I love combat. I love old school D&D and just rolling D20s and watching people, but I love the role play, and you have really helped this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. On to the next question. Most memorable tavern or bar moment for the party? Getting Ashwin drunk. It's the most memorable moment.
Do we have that, Rory?
Yeah, I'll look for it so you can pick, unless you want to find it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it. That's.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
While you look for that, my two favorite tavern moments was one when Osler Gundigoon was like to Millie, who's like, "Oh, it's no charge if you only flash me."
Long pause.
That was one of my all-time favorites.
No, he was not like that though. It was so cruel.
It was so funny. And then the second one was with Rin in the tavern. He's like, "Monsters? Monsters?
Yeah.
You mean the monsters?" Those are definitely my two favorite moments. But also Ashwin getting
Ashwin drunk.
It just felt like it just felt like Millie and Lilith's relationship, where they get to be very playful, and they were just like, and almost like a teensy bit malicious, just because like.
Well, and at the point, like Brim was kind of like our like keep
disappointed
us.
dad.
Well, he was always kind of the one that like kept us on the path of like doing the right thing, and he left us unsupervised with Ashrin.
That was so fun.
That was awesome. All right. Do we have that, Rory?
I have it on my phone. I thought it was in here too. I'm not seeing.
No, dude. Again, we'll talk about it. So, there's a couple things I want to talk about before we're gonna close in a moment, but I mentioned this. I teased it, and I need to go ahead and show it.
And if it is what I think it is, I have a question related to that, as well as the last question, and it was from Robert.
All right. Well, I think it's something different, but go ahead and tell me what yours is, because I'll prep that too.
This one is for Shorwin. Is there any regret over having Shorwin leave the party before Millie's funeral?
No.
Lilith would have liked Sherwin to be there, and Winston.
The DM would like Shorwin to be there.
Shorwin was broken. He was broken.
It makes sense.
There's no way. He needed to do what he needed to do. And
wait, no. So talk about that more. When you say he's broken, he was broken because of the loss of this, and because of the other sort of issues that had happened. The needle with Ashrin and all that. Why would he not stay to watch Millie? Honestly, that as a DM, and I'm not attacking you because I love you, Terry, but as a DM, that's probably one of the most confusing choices for one of my players I've ever seen.
Shorwin at that moment. Shorwin was stoic. He was a cavalier. He had fought in battles and fought in wars. He had ridden side by side with other cavaliers. He had battled with foot soldiers on the ground. He had done all of that. And war was not something that affected him. But what he had not had to do is he had not in the past put what he viewed as civilians in danger. Yes, they were adventurers. Yes, they could handle their own. He had seen that. But in his mindset, in the way he was trained, they were not soldiers.
Okay.
The closest anyone could have come was Brim. And he had led them into that danger because it was his choice to go find his sister that had led him initially to what happened with Ashrin, and then, because of Ashrin, what happened to Millie. And he could not face Millie's death in that way.
So I like that. So you're saying for him, Millie's death was something he could not face.
Correct.
Mic drop. Love that. No, it's a good question. I love the answer too. It's a great answer. So that was not where I was going, Evelyn, but okay. I still have something I'm saving, which I think is a great ending to the show tonight. But what else did you want to talk about?
That was the last question I had from the chat.
Okay.
Oh, Rory, you're muted, but I can see your lips moving.
It is an illusion, I swear. John, if you can pull it from the drive, the Ashrin clip is now in there.
Yes.
Oh, okay, hang on. Oh, okay, hang on. Let's pull that up. Hang on. Let me kill this.
So fun.
I named it Millie and Lilith Give Rum to Ashrin.
Okay, let me. I gotta refresh my drive here. Hang on 1 second.
Pretty sure I spelled Ashrin wrong, but you know what? I think it's supposed to be
Is this gonna sort?
I think it's supposed to be BBEG.
Let me sort by last modified. This one.
I have a question for the DM.
Okay.
Where is Ashrin now, and will she make a reappearance?
Well, that's up to you. So Ashrin, you left her behind. You brought her, and she was healed, and you left her there in the Kron Hills at the mercies of the elves, and she is still alive. But whether you want her to come back or not is your choice.
Mad Chatters, do we want her to come back or not?
Yeah, that's a poll. Yeah, let's put that poll up. That's a good idea.
Okay. That's a good poll.
That is a good poll. I don't think
we want Ashrin back or not? No,
yeah.
maybe. Okay, it'll be yes. Should we give them a maybe option, Evelyn, or just
we'll do
yes, no,
that.
maybe. Okay. This is like going back to like grade school when
I like polar, like yes, no, reject her or accept her.
Maybe yes, no, or absolutely not.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, yes, no, absolutely. I'd be fine with that. Yeah, don't put a maybe in. Put a yes, no, absolutely not. I'd be fine with that.
You got it.
I rather liked her, but
I accept
if you
her
guys
as a
did.
BBE.
Hold up.
Hold up.
Thank you, Plumeria Lost, for joining the Mad Chatters. Welcome. I don't know what this clip is. It's not the one I wanted, but I'm going to show it anyway. I got so many that Rory did here, and I just don't want to let these be unrecognized. So here we go.
I have Stone Shape. So can I cast and create a ramp with the trapdoor?
Okay, this one, yes.
Because it's Stone Shape.
You never gave me a pre-warning.
It's up to 10 cubic feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you said it's 12. So even if I make it like a 10-foot slope for him to climb up, he can still. I'm sure he can hop to feet or climb up to feet.
Right. So you're
Nice
you're
word.
doing this to the trap door itself that's now sliding back across. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I'd like to shape this door, or and the stone, just to kind of create a ramp.
Okay.
Going up towards where the doors are.
Okay. So,
Wow. So first thing I see is I needed to do better with my angles and clips and whatnot because that's so small. I think we've gotten better with that. But man, what a moment. Players, thoughts?
I'm just anticipating the death video.
I think it was one.
I feel it's very impending.
I think it was one of the first. Not first time Lilith cast spells, but you were able to do it in animal form. That was the first time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a creative way. I know you said the other week that, using the stone shape to catch the feet, but you actually reshaped the door. You stopped the door from closing. You provided Shorewind a way out of the pit. So you were starting to even think then, like, how can I shape this to change the environment, even at that time?
Yeah, and I think again, it's just a lot of inspiration from Gimbel's character, and just traveling with him and learning that, like, hey, like, these are spells that you can use. Like, I have spells, you have spells, but like, why does he use them in that fashion? And I've never like thought to use that, like, certain spells in certain fashion. And Rory, as a character, like a real life person, like the way that you use spells, I think blows everybody's mind sometimes, because you're just like, what? Like, wait, you want to do what with what now? And or when you're like, I'm gonna like shrink this thing, and then we're like, why? Like,
So yes, I agree completely with one caveat, which is there is one person in Blue Box Land that is not blown away, and actually wants to meet Rory, because they are so similar in how they think, and they will meet one another at Blue Box Con 2022. Rory, who thinks like you when it comes to spellcasting?
Yes, it is. You did meet.
Yeah,
Blue Box Con 2020.
I'm trying to.
I can think of is Tom, right? Thomas,
yeah.
exactly. You're gonna see him again,
we met
and
at the last one.
Yeah, I know, but like he is waiting to meet you again because he wants to like he's got his book here. He brings he wants to meet you again and show you all the stuff he's doing to really rock you with his wizardly abilities. But yeah,
I look forward to it.
Is this the one you were talking about, Rory? Here, let me pull it up here.
For the Ashran run, it's the red screen. The thumbnail on it is a red cavern screen.
What's the title?
Oh, there's that one too. The one you have up there is pretty. Yeah. Millie and Lilith give.
Yeah.
Oh
no!
The cart. That's the cart.
Yeah, the cart.
We'll go back
also, real quick, the poll was yes. Yes, the answer was yes.
No, I saw that already. I wanted to rejoice, and I was going to spike the football on everyone because Ashran is a NPC I really wanted to see come back, and the poll was absolutely overwhelmingly yes, Ashran, we want Ashran. All right, sorry, it's done. All right, let's go on.
Pass, but just not ready because Millie. She'll sit on the cart beside her, and in her pockets, she'll take out the little pot that Federum gave her, and she'll open it up, and she'll, like always, she will just take some and place it behind her ear like she normally does. And she'll brush the hair out of her face. Just kind of tuck her in the back of the cart. Before going to the front of the cart, she'll just kind of brush her cheek and tell her that she's as beautiful as she always is. And she'll just kiss her on the forehead and cover her up, and then resume to the front of the cart and look back at the group and just press forward.
Didn't mean to get toward the end with that. I have no words. I'm looking at the faces. I'm crying. Vivi's crying. Brim's crying. Evelyn's crying.
I've seen it a lot.
Rory
You're a heartless monster.
Rory and Terry are just watching.
I bring the levity, the snowball fights, and the.
I want to say thank you to Rory, not just for all this, but the Millie retrospective, which we're not going to play tonight, but I'm going to play it on the prelude to Book 2 before we kick off our next stream. The Millie memorial that you created is absolutely stunning, and I think it really encapsulates what we love about Blue Box and the story with Greyhawk Awakening and all that you guys have put into it. So that's not dead, but I don't want to play that tonight. No pun intended. Wow, that sounded really bad. A horrible choice of words. Yes.
Yep. Start us off with drama. Thank you.
All right. So again, Rory, you're saying the one you posted with Ashrin being drunk.
It's in the drive under BlueBoxRPG.
Let me refresh the drive here. I'm there. All right. And what's it titled?
So it's in BlueBoxRPG folder in the BB RPG
I'm there in videos, right?
In the videos,
yeah. Okay. And it's titled what?
Millie and Lilith give rum to Ashrin.
Okay. And I've tried to sort this by time. Let me do it again. Last modified. That's what I did. Last modified period. That's what brought Lilith said her goodbyes. I'm still looking at a total of, on here, drag this down. I don't see it, Rory, in the drive. And I don't care if we wait so Millie.
I don't think I can.
Let me refresh again.
See, what we need is the ninja, OBS Ninja. And you could just show it straight from him.
Yeah, I haven't set that to him though, but we could.
Just the moment with Millie, I think a lot of it too was when we were still in the cave at that moment. So like trying to get out of the cave was just kind of just going through the motions, right? And it was okay. And it wasn't. I was like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Like we're out of the cave, and then like Sharwin fell into the pit, and then Brim went in there to try to catch him out, and Sharon was carrying Millie's body. I think it was just really like even that to the point where I'm just like, okay, how are we going to get out of here? How are we going to get out of here? How are we going to get out of here? And I think that's kind of where my mind was more geared. And then once we had reached like the mouth of the cave to exit, I think that's when everybody really got to breathe in and take a moment to accept Millie's death and what had really happened. And I think hence that when, Brim does his prayer and stuff like that, and Sherwin just leaves his sword behind, and it was this pivotal moment at the very end where we were in battle and we needed to get out of this cave before we could really just feel the emotion and the impact that Millie's death had on all of our characters, I think. And that's when I lost my but yeah.
So I've got a couple things to talk about here before we end, but again, I just think one of my favorite moments. Let me find it here again. Sorry, Nope. Oh, Gimbal by the Spear. Got so many other good ones I could show. There's so much great content here. Thank you again, Rory. You crushed this.
Maybe next week, instead of a show, since we're off, you could just put them all together, and the stream for next week could just be all of these different clips.
I actually was trying to do that to some extent. So like Gimbal repetitively saying about his sleeves, Lilith talking about the stone or the teeth, and Brim and the teddy bear, and the different quips and quirks like that. Unfortunately, I don't have that all pre-done. I could definitely stick all these together and then send that over to John.
Yeah, that would be really, really good.
And then, John, I don't know if you are able to or want to do that suggestion about the Discord channel so people can just throughout the episodes.
Yes. Yeah.
Timestamp their favorite season, favorite.
Look, whatever the fans want to do, I'm learning even as I'm trying to help and grow. And what I think I have things to teach, but I also have a lot to learn. And so I would love to do that. I want all of you to feel free to push, provoke, chat in Discord, push me. This is not an autocracy here. This is me sharing with you and all my viewers how we want to see this game grow. I had a couple more things I want to show. And anyone that wants to leave, it's fine. You can, but I just don't want to. This one hurt my feelings. I saw this today, and I love Anna B. Meyer. I don't know why, Josh, you dislike Anna B. Meyer so much. It really surprised me how much you disliked her.
Her actions following the show.
Gimbal actually grew a little bit closer to Brim in this moment.
What action would that be?
Ryan.
Taking the staff. Throwing it to the ground. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Anna.
You're right. That's what friends would do.
I am sorry, Oga. You don't seem to understand. I am not your friend. I am your guide. And should you try to strike me with that massive club of yours, I assure you I will snatch it from your hands and drop it at your feet as well.
I wasn't the one that just used the word friend. Friend. You did.
Fair enough, then. Shall we be on, or would I head back to Hamlet and leave you here, on your own?
Mistress.
She shrugged.
Why did you dislike Anna B. Meyer so much, Josh? All the mapping work she's done, all the contributions to our community. You are an Anna hater for what reason?
She's
John,
too perfect. She's too perfect, and I hate it.
We have to separate the NPCs from the people.
For once, he's right.
Well, for once? For once?
Anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
He's amazing. And I loathe myself each day I wake up and I look in that mirror with Monty clutched in my chest and I say, "You're not Anna." So it was my first chance I could finally strike back.
All right. We've not talked about this guy much, but he is near and dear to my heart. Squeaks. So the story question earlier was other elements of the story that the players of the DM would like to have seen broken out more or really explored. Squeaks could have been saved. He was corrupted, and I honestly thought that maybe the party would think to pull the medallion off his skull, do some healing. Like there were things, but instead he was abandoned into the Twisted Forest, where he was recaptured. That knowledge that was gained by Halia, which ultimately led to the recovery of the orb, all of this was a result of Squeaks. The fact that he was betraying the party unwittingly. He didn't mean to. Like, he was not an evil thing, but he was a conduit for scrying. And the Gimbal in particular, I can't blame the party else, blame Gimbal, decided to just drop him out and throw him away.
I mean, you make it sound so abrasive.
That's how I felt.
We totally tried to save him. We totally did. Because I remember we tried to touch the disc on his head and then he like freaked out.
Yes.
You said that it was part of him.
It is, yes.
We made it seem like if we were to try to do it, he would die.
So okay. Yeah, that's so helpful.
The understanding that we were at, where when we tried to save him and help him, the understanding we had, I don't know if I don't want to speak for myself.
Integrated into his life.
Like in his skull, and if we were to ever try to remove it, he would die instantly. And that's
no. Okay. So
preach,
yes.
Girl, preach.
I'm sorry. What'd you say? Oh, No. So I think that where you were going initially was correct. I definitely said you touch it, he reacted, but you have powerful healing. You even have viewers popping in 2,500 bits to do things for all the players or the NPCs. And I never meant to suggest that that he was certain death if that medallion were pulled off his skull, as demonstrated by the fact when you saw him again, it had been pulled off, and he was still alive. So I guess whatever. Yeah, well, no, he was definitely alive, but not the same. But I guess that's a point. Like what you're saying is, DM, if the story didn't go the way you wanted it to, it's because you didn't give us the proper cues as players. Is that right?
Well, maybe.
Once again, it's your fault.
I know, it's all my fault. It's okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe, John, but it's what I've come to know as the vase effect, right? And so this concept that if you allude to the vase in the room, but really it's just a plain vase, but because you mentioned it, it's suddenly this magical, wonderful item that I must explore. Mm-hmm. Well, the way we perceived your description of that disc was this is an untouchable item. It will kill squeaks, and we like squeaks. So that
all right, so no, I love that, and this is I've asked several of my players the same question. I think sometimes cues are being missed, and I'm wondering if it's my fault. You know, I
think there's just a lot going on.
Yeah, like.
So.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just said I don't think so. I think like it's just human nature. The way that you describe something might make sense to you, but somebody might interpret it a different way, right? And so like I don't think that has anything to do with that. Like,
well, yeah, but when you're telling a story, right, as a narrator, you want to tell the story in the way that most of your audience will understand or interpret. So I view that as a failure for me. If you all felt that comment about the touching of the no.
I don't think so, because how many times have I asked you to re-explain the weather, right? Because I'm so thinking about this over here, and I'm not feeling the weather that I forget the weather, right?
Right.
And there's just so much going on in any given scene, especially when it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Keep the thing that I know is the silver brush in our bag, or get rid of it and try to protect it with the medallion, or kill it? And I didn't want to kill it.
Yeah.
Until you told me it was betraying us unintentionally,
right.
Then I wanted to kill it.
All right, Josh, you had your hand up.
I had my hand up because it is a mix of like when you say a phrase to one person and then you turn to another person and you say the same phrase, they're going to take it totally different ways. It's just the human brain is built on your experiences, your traumas, all that you've experienced in your life. So you saying a simple phrase to Rory and then you turn to me like almost like saying, hey, if you have something to tell me, DM me the response about how you feel about how I'm DMing. And then a certain person that would just send that sort of response into the chat. You could say something blatant. You could literally write it out for some stupid idiot.
Well, I could write it out, but I think that's the whole point of this is like what he said to me in response to my question was very much, it was influenced by his own paradigms.
And that's the thing. Like me, I suck at reading things. And so I also suck with anything analytical. So you say something to Rory where Rory's freaking analytical as fudge. He'll be like, yes, I get that.
Well, this is why I am uber analytical, which is my failing. My wife tells me all the time I'm overly analytical, but I think that is part of where we're all connecting at different levels. But Josh, I think that's so well said. And I'm always asking for feedback from my players. That even includes the uber critical Terry. I want to know where I'm teasing. Okay, it's a joke. It's a joke. Chill out, everybody.
I wanted to expand, though. You said something.
Yeah.
About as a storyteller, you want to make sure that you're getting it across to those that are
right.
watching.
Exactly. Yes.
But how many times have you read a book and somebody else has read a book and you've interpreted it differently? Those are storytellers, and it's printed, and how we interpret things. No matter how you want it, it's any creative endeavor, poetry, music, theater, art, no matter how hard you try to force the audience to understand what you're thinking, there will be those that will look at it and view it in a different way. There's no way around it.
All right,
well put, Terry.
No, that is well put. But does that mean that you disabuse yourself of the obligation to try to tell a story, right? So when you're writing, like you want clarity. When you're acting, you want to convey. You can always acknowledge that you're never. I heard an old phrase that there's 100% chance that you'll never make 100% of the people happy, right? You will never do that, but you still strive to tell your story. So, thoughts?
Everyone in chat, could you please tell me how Little John tries?
Well, no, I got Thomas said, could you just be a better DM? That's what Thomas said.
I think another good point worth mentioning is not only just that, but our characters as well, right? So we're thinking as our characters as well. And Gimbal had just come out of a scene where he had been tortured. And what he's telling us is that Squeaks is the only thing that was able to get him to be able to free him from Halia's torture, right? And so Gimbal has such close connection to Squeaks, and he's like, Squeaks is what saved my life, blah 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 blah. And so we err on the side of caution. And with what you said, yeah, we could have done it had we not cared, but I think it's because all of our characters cared about Gimbal and cared about Squeaks, because he was able to free Gimbal from Halia's clutches, and that's why we were more cautious, and we didn't want to chance anything that would possibly harm him in a certain way.
You just hit it exactly, and that's what I struggle with as a DM. I really thought Gimbal would try harder to save Squeaks instead of abandoning him, and for that exact reason. But I think, again, as a DM and a storyteller, I perhaps overshot the mark a bit.
Well, and he just felt betrayed. Like, Gimbal literally wanted to kill Squeaks when he found that out. Like, I actually debated about killing Squeaks.
So stop. Wait, stop. That's I'm so glad. Thank you. That's what. Why? If it was not his fault, if he was a rat controlled.
Yeah. So
Gimbal doesn't know.
Logical and rational are two separate things, right? I mean, when in the crisis of a moment, your logical mindset no longer exists. It's all emotional based. So
you said logical and rational. You meant logical and emotional, right? Because logical and rational should be the same. Logical and emotional. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Right. That the logical, the rational, it goes away, and the emotional overrides that. That's just human nature.
Right.
Through the ages. So Gimbal goes through this torture. He comes through. Lilith said, "Don't keep this. Don't keep this." And then he kept it, and it betrayed.
Wait. Lilith was the one that had a hairbrush from Halia.
Yeah, but she didn't know better. Now we knew this.
I did not willingly know that this was going to happen. Trust me, I have my own qualms about that too.
And now we know he was warned, and it, as a conceptual concept, not as Squeaks, but it betrays us, and Gimbal is utterly responsible for that betrayal to the group, right, in his mind. So that the emotional
I love that. That's the answer I was looking for. So the emotional response, the fact that you felt a certain way, separated from the tactical, logical, rational response, makes perfect sense to me.
And he really was about to kill him, and the best thing he could do in the moment was set him, not abandon him.
Gotcha. That's it. I love that. That's it. All right, Terry.
And says, "I will find you."
And what's great about that, from my perspective, with Rory, not Gimbal, but with Rory, is he avoided the metagame because he played the character and not the game.
Exactly.
And that's what's fantastic.
And that's what I think happens all the time with this group. So, Josh, so Vivi.
Oh, I was going to say, don't be so hard on yourself about being the storyteller and the DM, because you have to remember at the same time, we are all telling the story together. And I think the great thing that you do is you don't railroad us. You don't force us in a certain direction. You tell the story based on how we kind of portray and push the story wherever it goes. And I think, like, you can't just say, well, I didn't do it properly, because we are all individual people, all individual characters who have a role on this. And that's where we kind of guide the story, right? Like you set the scene, but we also guide the story as well. So,
I thank you for that, and the chat, thank you. That's awesome. Turn on the flame. Also, thank you, William. Gimbal should have detected magic on both the hair, the brush, and Squeaks. That is so true. All right, we're going to conclude tonight with one of my favorite clips. I just think we cannot see this often enough.
Which one is it?
One of the best clips ever. It's glorious. as you suddenly feel confused and you're being pulled by this. You don't know what's happening to you as this creature pulls on you, and now I need you to make a percentile check for me, please.
Holy crap. All right, let me use these. The 22, dang it. Okay. 30.
A 30. All right. Brim, you stand there and you begin just babbling incoherently. You can't even talk. This is your chance to roleplay, my friend.
Well, Bumblebee, baby, some gangrene, purple ducky, what's going on? Where's the frog on the milk, baby run? Where's the king, queen, mother crowd? Baby butter muffin. Roll.
Who said 2 rolls?
Baby butter muffin.
I gotta go back to the middle of that again real quick.
Baby some gangrene, ducky, what's going on?
Every time I watch this, I laugh.
Where's the king, queen, mother crowd? Baby butter muffin. Roll.
Who said 2 rolls? Now that needs to be a T-shirt. If anything, is going to be a
Baby
t-shirt.
butter muffin, or
the whole thing, the whole speech.
ending with Lilith saying who said street rolls.
Thank you. So I want to conclude tonight by saying we have some fun stuff coming up here. I like the idea of a continuous retrospective, if we can make that happen, Rory, for next Tuesday. But there will be no live stream next Tuesday. Tomorrow night we have a great LMA with John Fuller, who's Demon Goond, really highlighting Tailspire, which you're starting to see in some of the latter parts of Greyhawk Awakening, and you're going to see a lot in GHA Book 2. He is so good, and there are so many incredible modules, plugins, assets that are being developed for this game. It's a revolutionary tool for telling stories. But I really want to conclude tonight, and I don't care if anyone needs to drop, that's fine. It will take about 5-10 minutes. There's no stream MVP tonight, of course. With a thank you and a recognition. And the thank you goes to Evelyn. Evelyn, who has helped me every step of the way. And I've talked about her on previous streams, but I don't mind being redundant when it comes to her excellence. She has told the story, she has recorded, she has been just an absolute catalyst to what's happened here in Blue Box and helping me every step of the way. If you don't know this, she is a partner in Blue Box. We share in what happens with the income of the stream, but more than that, she's a friend and she's an amazing storyteller. And
we cannot praise her enough.
I don't say often enough how thankful I am. Josh, why the heck did you move out there instead of Nashville? I am angry at you every single day. You should have chosen to come here, not there, but I'm still grateful you're part of this community and I've got your stuff. A lot of the minis and terrain is still sitting out here in my basement, and I've been previewing some of it, but it's going to be a lot more coming soon. Terry, thank you for joining us, for being part of this stream, and you are provocative for me. You've helped me a lot. We've talked offline. Your suggestion was, hey, start a a website, and we have a website that's being worked on right now by Danny, Honeybee Crafter. God, I look like crap. I'm crying. All right, so I'm thankful to you, Terry, even though you took Shorewin from us, and I'm still mad at you about that. But I am thankful to you. You've been a huge part of the show. Rory, you have created so much that's helped us. The Blue Box trailer. Your endless hours of effort. I can't, how much time did you spend putting this like together? I've got 49 videos clipped. Hundreds of hours you put into this. And Gimbal is always the lighthearted sort of levity in the stream. Gimbal always brings, because I like serious role play. I like dark themes and, making things feel epic. And then Gimbal comes across with there were some things I didn't show tonight. I wanted to show with Gimbal, his little spells and his fun.
We can take care of business unless we already have.
Oh, all right. I'll pull that up in a second because I know that's a great shot. But I'm thankful to you. You have done so much. And then you, Vivi, I think above all, you're the one I've seen the most growth in. And you talked about that earlier, and you and I have talked offline, but it's real. When you came on initially, you were hesitant, you were cautious, and I've watched you blossom as a role player. And you become a fan favorite. All the fan art and just like people love what you have brought to the campaign. So I want to say thank you to all of you. And then secondly, I want to say thank you to the viewers, not just for your support, not just for your fan art. And I really want to show more fan art tonight. I had a whole bunch of fan art shots, but we don't have time for them. Pat draws, Mark views, of course, Frederica, Lee with all of her, her verbal sort of, artwork that she's done with writing. But more than that, the giving. And that giving has not gone tremendously here. Most of what we've done in this room has been funded by Blue Box, by me. But we have raised over, I got to go back and recalc, but I think it's over $14,000 for charity in the last 18 months between Save the Children and then two of the St. Jude's fundraisers, plus all that we have then given through to other fundraisers. This community is one of the most generous and supportive communities I think you'll find anywhere on Twitch. And so as we conclude book one, I want to say thank you again. And then I want to say also, I promise you, book 2 and book 3 will be mind-blowing. We are not done telling stories here at Blue Box. And I'll conclude with that and give a chance for any of the players to give any final words to our viewers.
Now that you got us all sad.
I know. I always do that mic drop. I'm sorry. I think I'm so bad at that. I don't know. I don't mean to, but Terry's not verklempt. So Terry, say something that you would like to say to our viewers, or just responding to what you're thinking about the next chapter and your character, or anything else you want to talk about.
Well, no, I think it's, yeah. No, I mean, look, we've got a great group of people that watch. I think what we do on here, what you don't realize, John, is that these nights for me, with what I'm going through, because you know what I'm going through, and so does everybody else in our group, is an escape. And I'll be honest, the fact that we didn't get to RP tonight and don't get to RP next week is rough for me. But I appreciate what we get to do here because it allows us to enjoy a fantasy world away from the hardships that we have to deal with every day. And you wanted me to speak. You screwed up there, by the way. And I don't think I could have gotten through some of this stuff that I've had to go through. And I know lots of people watch us for that escape as well. And I think that I appreciate that way more than you'll ever know.
Mic drop. Official mic drop.
No, you're not getting out that easy. So Terry, I had no idea. Thank you so much. We'll talk offline. But I think I want to conclude with going through each player. And this is not, I'm not looking for compliments. I'm looking for you to talk about the viewers and the campaign and your own experience. Let me go to you, Rory.
Make sure it's still on. Just the everything you guys do, from the interaction, the comments, the fan art, playing the NPCs in the Discord, it all brings another layer to it. These funny quips that, when I'm able to go see them, because I'm so stuck in the moment, but right, they get read off every now and then, and they're funny. They bring another layer of that levity in a different way, and it's just all that kind of participation. Even when, and we've experienced some stuff right here. We all know, majority of us on here probably all remember a time when some stuff happened and blah blah blah, and then it got taken care of. And it's just that good nature environment of the community, and it stays that way. Even as it grows, it stays. Let's help each other, support each other. Hey, things get misunderstood. That's okay. Move that to the side, and now we continue. Like, it's just the good-hearted nature of this community, all in all, and the group, John, the chatters. It's all great.
Thank you, Vivi. Your thoughts. And again, don't feel compelled to like match levels of emotion. I just want you to really tell people what you're feeling and what you think about the community and how it's helped you.
First of all, Terry, I love you so much. I think it's streaming is weird because you're being watched live on people, and I think with this community in itself, I feel really comfortable here, and I feel like we're a family, and we're just getting together and playing some good old D&D, and it's not pressured, and and I feel like with the fans too, and like the Mad Chatters, like, you guys are so amazing. And I know everybody says it all the time, but like, we truly, truly, truly do feel that you guys are so amazing. And you guys have gone through this journey with us. You've laughed with us. You've cried with us. You've made wonderful art, like off the hop. Like, it blows my mind to be able to be talking about something, and then all of a sudden, like, there's a picture in the fan art, or there's a meme in there. Like, it's amazing, and we get to know these people every Tuesday. We come here and we see the same faces, and like, I come here and I enjoy my Tuesdays. I enjoy sitting here just like I would sitting at a table with my original D&D group friends. Like, you become friends with these people, and like I'd mentioned before, like, lifelong friends. And I think the thing that I really enjoy about this stream in particular is that there is no, like, a limelight, so to speak. I know Josh sometimes is like, oh, I'm sorry, I felt like I overtook the stream. And none of us are like that. Like, we all are just here to play and to enjoy the story that's being told together as a group. And like I said, like, we have built lifelong friendships. Like, I feel like I just want to give you guys, like, all such a big hug, and it sucks because I'm the furthest away, but like it's just like, we all talk outside of stream. Like, we come here and we meet, and every Tuesday, and that's fine, but like, we are talking, interchanging after streams, in between streams, and things like that, and not just about games, but about everyday life, and I love Evelyn, I love Rory, I love Josh, I love Terry, I love you, Don, all the same. Like, it's just, we're just this Blue Box family. And I think that really really means what it means. Like, it's your Blue Box family, and family is family. It's not just a saying that we're just saying, oh yeah, Blue Box family. It's legitimately feels like a family, and we're here to support each other through everything and are always there for each other no matter what.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, so well said, and thank you. But the question for everyone is, you're far away, but COVID restrictions aside, if that's possible, will you be here next year for Blue Box Con 2022?
100%.
All right, fair enough.
I will try my damnedest to be
Yeah,
there.
look, we get
whether
it.
I have to fight some patrol, like border patrol, or
No, look, I
or
think
what it is. Yeah.
no, that's yeah, no, don't fight anyone. But I think that's the nature of what's happening here is that we're all dealing with this, and I don't want anyone to feel obligated. But I think what's happening, and we're talking on the planning here in the next few weeks, is that it's going to be amazing next year. All the people that were here last year seem like they want to come back, and then many people who missed it last year want to be here. It's going to be an amazing community event next year. And I'm going to show some fan art, but sorry, so good, Vivi.
No, I was just saying. I think what's so impactful is like I don't think I've ever seen a stream in this fashion where the Mad Chatters are like so involved in any way, shape, and form. And like from what I've seen, just from being an outsider looking in, not being able to attend Blue Box Con, like that family essence, like I could feel it, that family essence, and I wasn't even there. I wasn't even present. So like, what does that say for somebody who's viewing that on the outside who wasn't there during Blue Box Con? Like I felt like that family feeling, watching the video, seeing the pictures getting posted and all those kinds of things, watching the stream. Like it's just such a lovely thing to see, and it just blows my mind every single time when we're laughing about the same thing, or people say like, oh, I can't wait to watch on Tuesday the stream or whatever. It's a nice escape, it's a nice getaway, kind of like what Terry said. And to be able to provide that for people is just it absolutely blows my mind.
All right, Josh, I don't want to put you on the spot too much, my friend, because I know you're exhausted tonight, and you warned me before the stream. But you can give just a few words. You can say hello. Also, talk. I should have let Terry do this. I want you to talk about Children of Dirt. I want to come back to Terry and talk about Extinction Curse. I want to make sure I'm shouting out all the stuff you guys are doing. But Josh, please, anything you'd like to say, or if you just want to wave at everyone and flex and say Brim's awesome, that's fine too.
Ditto.
That's good enough. No. I'm like seriously.
No,
I don't want. Okay.
No, get out of here. Blue Box, very much dittoing after Terry. As you know, I've made a really big life change in the past little bit. Something that I've dreamt about my entire life, and to have a community that's been there for me through it all. A community that you introduced me to, John. It all started with a spanking that was greatly enjoyed by both parties. And now you're still here spanking our feelings. And I'm grateful for you guys.
Yeah.
Even though Terry does absolutely just love me more than everyone else on the stream, we try and share our love amongst all of us equally. Everyone watching this stream, you all are going through horrible, hard things in your lives. Some of you have been impacted by COVID. Some of you have been impacted by other really hard things in your life. Some of you have had to move. Some of you have lost a loved one. Some of you have lost your jobs and have to find new ones, or haven't even found new ones. But Tuesday night isn't about any of that. Tuesday night is about finding a place like the Tabernacle, finding that place where you can go and worship with those around you. You're here to worship us. Come on, sorry,
What?
Deflections aside. I need this. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm not talking about John. I'm not talking about anyone else. But I, Joshua Davis Blake, need this. Because this past year has effing sucked. And there's been so much that I've run from or had to face head on that I know that when I turn on this camera, it's not about me. It's about Terry. It's about Evelyn. It's about Rory. It's about Phoebe. And it's about John. It's about these people that I wish I could just run out and get brunch with when my life has gone to shit at times. It's about these people that I love so gosh dang much that I take pride in being called John Jr. Because that means that I'm part of something bigger than myself. And it means that I don't have to face this on my own. Because whether you're in the community of the Mad Chatters or in the Wayward Bolt, we're all a party. Just trying to face this BBEG we call life together and not on our own.
Wow.
I love you guys so much.
Wow.
And you're
wow.
not.
I mean, honestly, this is not what I was expecting. I'm humbled. And Josh, I'm Josh Jr. You've taught me a lot. I've learned so much from you. And anytime I'll jump on a plane. Evelyn, for you, my right hand, final thoughts.
Whew, so, there are two people here that know exactly what I've been going through recently. And no matter what, no matter how anything is, Tuesday night always makes it better. And being here with these players and getting to make these stories and do these things together and go on these incredible adventures and be heroes, it's been such a beautiful journey so far, and I am so excited beyond words to do it again and again and again. And I am so thankful for the Mad Chatters and everybody who comes and supports us every week, and just the general outpouring of love and connection, and these people who inspire me all the time through the stories you tell in your own streams and the just your willingness to jump in and play with us and to be part of our lives and to just, you all give so much of yourselves and so much of your time, and I could not be more grateful and feel more blessed in any way than what I have with these beautiful people, both in the Mad Chatters and the people that I play with every week, because there's nothing that compares to it. And I love you all so much.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you, Evelyn. And you know what? Honestly, if I never streamed again, this would be good enough for me. It would. This is fantastic. And I'm so grateful to each of you. I had no idea this was going to happen tonight, but it just, it happened. And I want to come back to what Terry said. Terry talked about the escape. And I think we saw that from each of these folks. We're all dealing with a difficult time. Many of us, I mean, COVID is crushing all around. Last year, I heard about COVID, and I had COVID, but I never saw the devastation of COVID that I'm seeing now. It's everywhere and all around me. So many friends. I've lost many loved ones. It's horrible. But there are many other things which are impacting all of us. And Evelyn, I'm going to let you tell this story because I've told it a couple of times and people are tired of me. But what was the name of my role-playing club in high school?
The Escapist Society.
So Escapist Society. That's what I played in high school. And so the whole idea of theater, of art, of role play, of D&D is to jump into another world And many times it's expressive, it's art. Other times it's relief. It is escape. And I think many of us have expressed this tonight. So I want to say thank you again to all the viewers. Please, if you can, jump in tomorrow night. We got the upcoming Greyhawk Con. Mike Disney, I'm wearing his shirt tonight. I showed the Overgourd. I've got giveaways coming here in the next few weeks. It's going to be amazing. But I just think tonight, to conclude, it's best to end with a bit of levity. And so, what would be better than playing this one more time?
The Babylon.
I swear.
I want to wait. Can we?
As
Mother trucker.
suddenly feel confused, and you're being pulled by this. You don't know what's happening to you as this creature pulls on you, and now I need you to make a percentile check for me, please.
Holy crap.
30 is not good on percentile.
All right. Let me use these. The 22. Dang it. Okay. 30.
A 30. All right. Brim, you stand there and you begin just babbling incoherently. You can't even talk. This is your chance to roleplay, my friend.
Hello, Bumblebee, baby thumb. Gangrene. Purple Ducky. What's going on? Where's the frog on the milk paper run? Where's the king, queen, mother crown? Baby butter muffin.
I'm trying to transcribe that. It's too fast. I got Bumblebee, Baby Thumb,
Baby
Gangrene,
butter
Robert
muffin.
Duck,
Oh.
Milk, Queen
All
by
right.
the Crown, Baby Butter Muffin.
All right, so
Queen by the crowd.
all right, so thank you to all of you. Late night tonight, but I'm so grateful. Tune in tomorrow night for our Lore Masters Arcanum, and don't despair overmuch. All of these players will be back with new PCs and great stories to tell. And this is not the end for Lilith and for Elandra, not Yolanda, Elandra. Not the end for Rin or Brim or Gimbal. There is more story to be told. So keep tuning on to Blue Box, and the story will continue. All of you, good night. We love you. Thank you so much.